Yes, yes, yes. Party people in the place to be. Yeah, now in the midst of a real MC. What's going on, Coop? How you doing on this Friday?
Yeah, man, what's going on? You know, we're live in effect. It's Friday. You were just telling me. I mean, I just haven't tapped in. You were just telling me some of the stuff that what the MCs have been saying about the list.
Yeah, a lot of MCs have been saying a lot of stuff. I know my camera's going in and out, but we're gonna get that fixed as the show is going. We got
Yeah,
super
yeah, that's
chats
fine.
already, bro. Jadarion says, "Did you hear the Dead in Hip Hop Posse cut? Can't can't no hip hop podcast be doing anything better than my favorite podcast? We need a A2HH Posse cut. This can't slide. I'm gonna go check it out. And what me and Cooper gonna do, we're gonna get in the studio, get these bars back on. I mean, it's just two of us, so I don't think it's a posse cut. I mean, we can, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, and not trying to flex, but I was on the phone with Mickey Fax yesterday, so it's whatever. Like, I know Mickey would throw us some bars too. Like, we just got to get the right track.
Yeah. You don't, you don't, you don't want nothing with me. I'm my whole
We
problem.
we could do an ultimate posse cut. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go listen to their joints. It's gonna be fun. But like I said, I think since it's just you and I, we can get some other MCs on there too. Is that fair?
I mean, I haven't heard it. I just know who I am.
Yeah, Mickey has a whole school too. So I hadn't written a rhyme in a minute, but I think I still got a little bit of something in the tank every now and then.
You should
Um,
call Holla. We should call Holla and see if we can get a verse from Holla.
you can dial one in for us. Dang,
He
Mike.
just reached out to my cousin. He had just reached out to Six. I think Six was on a thread with another homie of ours, and I think Six was telling me Holla had reached out, or that another one of our producers, Steph, had reached out. So one of the producers had reached out to one of them. I don't know,
What
but
beat
I
would
know
you want to
Holla's
rhyme
making a
on
bar.
though? Like, what's the perfect posse cut beat to rhyme on?
I mean, I've already done the posse cut thing with the lace freestyle that I did. Remember?
Hmm.
So I already did the Lucchini thing. That was my pick last time.
I've done
So
Lucchini too. Rambe and myself did Lucchini back in the day.
it's hard not to. I
Yeah.
mean, I would tell you after that, grinding comes to mind. Um,
We'll think of some, and people put some
Ushacha
in the
comes to
chat.
mind.
I like I Shot You to rhyme on personally.
Either or.
Yeah. Leroy
I
Green
like catching a
wants to
body.
get in on this. You know what I mean? Leroy Green wants to get in on this. You got some
What do
bars
I
for us,
want to
Leroy,
rap on?
from the Rock Nation brunch.
I
My,
could get gangster with it, Mike. We could rap over the shiznit.
mm,
Yeah.
that could happen. That could happen. Okay, you were asking me what people were saying about the list.
If you want to go old school, I would say Microphone Fiend or The Bridge is Over.
I love The Bridge is Over. I feel like The Bridge is Over is already spoken for, though. You know what I mean? I mean,
Absolutely.
because Queens already jumped on that.
Right.
Um, hmm. We'll think of some.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to check out their freestyle, and because I know a lot of our listeners check for Dead in Hip Hop. I know they do a really good job over there. I think they're in Atlanta too.
Are they?
I think so.
Cool.
So yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be fun. Vernon with the super chat says KD4 needs to drop this summer. We're gonna get into that conversation too because I think Coop has some inside information, and I know 50 Cent said something about that in his Billboard interview. And speaking of Billboard, did you hear what Ice Cube just said? He got stopped by TMZ and they were asking him about this list.
I mean, you briefly prefaced it if you want to kind of engage our audience and kind of let them know what time it is.
Well, I literally just saw it like right before we got on this show, and
Oh wow.
they stopped Cube, and Cube was like, "Billboard's not hip hop." He said that they have no credibility, and they asked him about Short Dog getting left off the list because he was the only one from Mount Rushmore that wasn't on there. He's like, that's ridiculous. He's like, but basically, opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one type of thing. So. But again, Q being a 19, or what was Q? Let me get to the list.
I believe 19 was appropriate.
No, I think Missy was at 19, bro. Let me
So he
see.
might have been 18. He might have been
Yeah,
18
yeah, he
then.
was 18. Yeah, Cube was
Okay.
18,
Still too
and
damn low.
50 Cent was 17.
I
Um,
mean, I guess I guess my quandary with it is that when you have, and this is what I mean about that 2-3-4, 1-2-3-4-5. When you have that 2-3-4 lineup the way that you do,
hmm
as in Kendrick, Nas, and Tupac, as in Social Commentary Deluxe.
right.
How do you not have Ice Cube higher and within the realm when, quite frankly, he's the inspiration in a lot of ways for all three? And same could go to Chuck D, except for I would include all four because Ice Cube is inspired by Chuck D as well.
Right.
And so, how is it that Kendrick social commentary supersedes those four guys specifically is what I find to be problematic because of the way that they spoke of it. Not because I'm taking issue with him belonging in that conversation,
Right.
but it's like, okay, if you're in that conversation, then it kind of becomes about the music and the albums, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, and then it becomes like, what are the actual qualifiers, right? Like you said, if social commentary, and I would think for Kendrick's high placement at number 2, and it's very high. You know, we got 50 years of hip hop, and you know he wasn't around for a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? So for him to have such a high placement, you would feel that his impact and involvement is just massive, right? And it seems like his biggest level of impact is social commentary. And so, with that being said, it feels like they're weighing it heavy on him, but not so much people like you said, like Chuck D or like, you know, Cube. And then, you know, then you got somebody like 50 Cent who is a slot above Cube, and it just doesn't really make sense. You're like, okay, so where are the qualifiers? Because this what I feel like when you got 50 Cent ahead of Cube, right? And even though 50 had a massive album, right? And he
And a
broke
really great run.
great run, great run. But I think we know that the mainstream holds 50 Cent high for hits, whereas we probably hold 50 Cent high for the underground mixtape stuff and all of that, and everything combined, right? So if it's about that in relation to Cube, then how does Drake get 8, who has more Billboard stuff than anybody, and Kendrick gets 2? That
I
qualifier
mean,
doesn't seem to work in the same way. You know what I mean?
no, I definitely understand where you're coming from. I believe I did read somewhere the metric that they use. But you know, I believe when they put lyrics down, it was like storytelling ability. I believe Impact came up for theirs too. It's somewhere, Mike. But when I saw the criteria, it wasn't too far off from ours. Like it was some of the same stuff. And this is what I mean is like, well, really, at the end of the day, it's like, well, it's about, and I believe voice was part of theirs too. I'm not sure, like
Really?
on some sort of level. Like I think delivery was one of theirs, and they would put voice in parentheses or something like that. And I say all these things to say because there were some comparable things. Well, if it's about the voice, and it's about the message, and it's about the quality of songs, and it's even about the quality of albums. Because listen to what I'm about to say. It's like when I'm talking about Kendrick's run. Well, now we're talking about Ice Cube, Mike,
Right,
and
right,
Nas, and
right.
Tupac. And so if you actually want to go album runs, the only one he has a better album run than is actually Pac. And we both know that Impact, song-wise, message-wise, voice-wise, he's not touching Pac. And so that's what I mean about it. It's like, well, how do you have him ahead? And then it's like, if you want to go to quality of music and you put lyrics and put storytelling in parentheses, it's like, well, I wouldn't put too many people ahead of Kendrick storytelling-wise. But I can think of 2 people. Mike, guess who? Ice Cube and Nas.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's like, and then let's go to the voice. It's like, well, Ice Cube and Nas again, Mike. So it's like, it is a little confusing. It does feel. I'm going to say it as respectful as I can. It feels very, very forced.
It does. Him having Kendrick at number 2 does feel forced. Now, shout out to DJ Paperboy. My camera's finally working, so I'm ready to flow. We ready to get this show in. That's always distracting when it starts like that because I'm kind of doing 3 things at once. But anyway, shout out to DJ Paperboy. He hit me up maybe about 2 hours ago, livid about this list. He was like, "Why did y'all post this list? this bogus Billboard list, and I asked him what was the biggest problem he had with the list, and this is a DJ now. He said Kendrick being at number 2. He said obviously he had a lot of problems with the list, but the blaring thing was Kendrick being so high. He says, as far as like his rotation, in the clubs or whatever, or just in whatever settings, Kendrick doesn't have those records that the people that he is ahead of and that are surrounding has. Now he had a problem with the Eminem thing, but that's a whole nother thing, and we could go on a tangent. But Kendrick specifically confuses the criteria, and it makes you wonder, like, what exactly is the criteria if Kendrick is the second greatest rapper of the last 50 years of this full genre. It becomes problematic in that way, and I think one of the biggest issues with this list, and kind of piggybacking on Ice Cube's sentiments, is the fact that these lists come together and are put together by people who don't talk to the people, who don't have dialogue about, these people that are being placed in certain areas. And there's just no dialogue and basically no reason for rhyme or rhyme for reason, lack of a better term. And once they get put out there, you're going to have people debate regardless. But all people want to see is that you're being fair, right? And when you have somebody like Kendrick at number 2, and then somebody like The Game, like I was telling you offline, who basically has everything that Kendrick has in spades outside of Lyrical Miracle shit, isn't even a top 50. Many people would tell you the documentary is better than Good Kid, Mad City. Is that not fair?
Ooh, I think it in a lot of ways it is, Mike. Replay value being one of them. As much as I love Good Kid, Mad City, I think Good Kid, Mad City is conceptually better and lyrically better, and I think it's more concise. But I don't know outright. Nobody's ever asked me that too, which is crazy. I don't know if it's necessarily better than the documentary, but I will tell you that Kendrick had less help putting it together than The Game did. I think that's kind of how people look at it. But you say something very strong when you're talking about The Game and him not being included on this list, but somebody like Kendrick ends all the way up at 2.
Exactly. I think that's very high for somebody. Well, all right, look. Kendrick's 2, right? And then you got somebody like The Game who's not on the list. Somebody like Corrupt who's not on the list. Somebody like Schoolboy Q who's not on the list. Somebody like Exhibit who's not on the list. Shit, even ASAP Rocky not on the list, and he's 2.
But look at the chart. Look at the chart toppers like Nelly and Ja Rule. Like Nelly made this list, didn't he?
I don't know if Nelly made the list.
I don't think Nelly made
the list. Ja Rule didn't, and he made some noise about it. And really, Ja Rule has a whole bunch of top charting, Billboard charting songs. Number 1 songs on hip hop and
contributions to a lot of other people's stuff too.
Can I Get a? Yeah.
I was thinking Jay and Fat Joe owe that nigga some money still.
Yeah. No, I forgot about his number 1s with Fat Joe and Jennifer Lopez too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Rule did a lot of work, man.
I'm gonna get to what Rule said. Let me get to these super chats. Let me get to these super chats real quick. JY with the super chat says, "Y'all should rap over Mother I Sober." Yeah, that'd be fun. Justin Jones with the super chat says, "Y'all should rap over the Vapors." Okay, we could do that. 007 with the super.
That's too breezy. I want something like.
You want something menacing? 007. 007 says, "Posse cut. Jump in the studio and I'll fly down and I'll spit a verse on some Queens-ish. Peace Kings. Also, I still can't believe that they put Kendrick over Pop. Man. Okay. What I was gonna say though, and I'm not trying to be problematic, Mike here, but I found it interesting that nobody has pointed out that Nipsey's not on the top 50 at all either. And we see a lot of Go ahead.
I think it was going to be hard for him to make that list just because of the notoriety. Like Nip was almost known just as much for his hustle as he was for his music, Mike.
Right.
And I think people were just starting to get acquainted with how great the music was.
Who do you
So
feel like had a bigger impact on the West Coast, though? Because I know one of the big things that they talked about was Kendrick's influence. They said Compton has always become one of music's most influential. Yeah, Compton's native has become, one of music's most influential artists. Do you think that he has the impact on Cali or that Nipsey had?
No, but that's just one. That's just one meter to measure. You know what I mean?
I understand. I think that when you get into that top 10, and especially if you're getting somebody number 2 all time, impact has to be heavy. They got him in here with people who were super impactful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, how about this? Putting him at number 2 kind of feels like putting Giannis at number 2 all time.
It's not fair to him. I mean, and this is not to bash Kendrick, because we're fair and we're Kendrick fans, but it's not fair to him to put him at number 2 because now we got to give him smoke.
Yeah, because it's like, when Giannis become better than Olajuwon, in Kobe, and Tim Duncan, and Shaq. Like, when did that happen exactly? Is it happening now? Is that what's going on? Are we watching that right now? Because it's like, oh, I don't think so.
I think this was an attempt to not make their list an old fart list. I get that. But I get it. I think what Billboard should have done here, you might as well just put Drake at number 2, man. Because you know what? There's a generation. I told you I would have been more okay with that. Yeah, it would have made more sense to put Drake at number 2. Because you can actually qualify that with something.
You can actually explain that shit. Yeah. Yes.
You can actually qualify that with something. You can't qualify this.
Well, here's the thing. Literally, it goes Nas and Tupac right after. It's like, hold on. Stop. It's like, back up.
Right.
Back up. What are we doing? Now, if you put Jay at number 1 and then put Drake at number 2 and then have Nas and Pac as your 3 or 4, it's like, I see what you're doing.
Exactly.
I get it.
This is about bangers. This is about, you know what I'm saying, just being out there in the marketplace. Kendrick's not out there in the marketplace. His feature game's not heavy. The big thing he has is his lyrical ability and his album making ability. Let's look at this list, this top 20, right? I don't think there's anybody on this 20 that he could actually beat in a versus. Do you? He's not beating Jay. He's not going to beat Nas. He's not going to beat Pac. He could beat Eminem probably. He's not going to beat Biggie. He's not going to beat Wayne. He's not going to beat Drake. He's not going to beat Snoop. Maybe Nicki. I don't know. If
maybe Nicki. Maybe. So Em and Nicki.
They're similar. He's not going to beat Ye. And if Andre can use Outkast stuff and features, he's not going to beat him. He's not going to beat Rakim. He's not going to beat LL. Then you got J. Cole. I don't know. That's a close one. Scarface in the verses, I don't think you could beat him. I don't think he could beat 50 in the verses. That's just me.
Well, okay, so this is what I mean. It's like, well, if you start parsing it down, it's like, well, you kind of got to go to the albums and go to the songs, and it's like how about this? As much as I love something like a Duckworth, you know what I'm saying? It's still not a bird in hand.
Hell no.
See how you felt when I said that?
It's not even in the same, no.
Right. And so it's like, that's the problem with having him there, because here's the thing. It's kind of like, you know how look at how we have LeBron right now. And we all say LeBron's a top 5, top 3, top 2 player. Even nobody questions it. They only question if he's the greatest. You get what I'm saying? When you're number 2, the question should be, are you the greatest? I shouldn't look at you at number 2 and be like, hold on, wait, stop. Like, hold on, what happened? Like, I shouldn't look at it like that. It shouldn't make me pause. It should make me debate.
Again, man, what are the qualifiers here? Is it the albums? Is it the hits? Is it the skill set? Because there's so many people.
Not to be funny.
Go ahead.
Not to be funny. Everybody, including Eminem, on this top 10 is battle tested except for him. And I've got a big fucking problem with that, Mike. I do.
Well,
Like
speaking of battle tested,
the inside of me don't feel right about it because it's like you done talked real big, but you really ain't really stepped out here and caught no smoke or even just popped off because you felt like you had it like that. You feel what I'm saying?
Glad you mentioned that, Coop.
Like, did you see how I behaved, Mike? Like when they was like talking about doing the thing, I ain't even heard what the other camp did, and I like those dudes. Just the MC inside of me is like, oh, hold on, pause, wait.
Well, all right. I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna put this top 20 on the screen again. The Game has won at Jay-Z. Might not have gotten. I mean, they've gone back and forth, little responses here and there. The Game has demolished Eminem with the Black Slim Shady and still gotten no response. And, you know, I got to admit, even though I'm a 50 fan, The Game took him and G-Unit down a notch. That happened. Not to mention the fact that The Game slaughtered Meek Mill. Pest Control's crazy.
Pest Control.
And he gave it to Beanie Siegel, too, who should also be on this list, by the way. But this dude has done all those things, been battle tested, has multiple classic albums, and actually, you know what? Outside of the battle part of it, he has rhymed with Nas repeatedly. You know what I'm saying? He's made records with Eminem. He's made records with Wayne, Drake, Snoop. I think he might have a record with Nicki too, right? Him and Kanye.
50.
Yeah. Kanye, J. Cole, Kendrick, Scarface.
Everybody.
He's rhymed with the Titans and everything. This guy gets no consideration.
Ice Cube, Mike. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre. Schoolboy Q, J-Rock.
Yeah.
New school niggas, Ab-Soul, the new school niggas.
He's done everything.
Yes. Gets busy with everybody.
And you know what? And I think
he's an MC.
And even though people want to say the Game has help, and you know, when people make that argument, that's tough to refute. But what I will say about the Game, me personally, I like the shit he does by himself even better.
This is what I mean.
So he's proven that he can hold it down himself.
How about this? Pull up your top 10 again. Say the top 10.
Okay. I'll pull up the 10. We got Jay, Kendrick, Nas, Pop, Eminem, Biggie, Lil Wayne, Drake, Snoop, Nicki.
He's rapped with 7 of their top 10.
Mm-hmm. And then we can continue.
2 of those people he didn't rap with because they're dead.
Exactly.
Jay's the only one on the list he hadn't rapped with, Mike. The documentary.
And he's been asking for it, yeah.
The documentary 2 starts off with him and Kendrick going back and forth. How many niggas willingly are going to go back and forth with Kendrick?
Exactly. And he's done this on multiple occasions with Kendrick and Cole. And you're telling me that this guy's the second best all time? He's that much better than the Game, huh? And the Game has the catalog. Listen, I don't think that Kendrick could beat the Game in the verses. I don't.
He doesn't have a better catalog. He doesn't have the records, too.
I'll put that out here right here on this microphone, on this live tonight. What's the date? February 10th, 2023. Excuse me. The Game cannot beat Kendrick in the verses. He would not. He wouldn't. He ain't got the records to. Jay Short with the super chat says, you know what? And I don't think he could beat him in a battle either. Yeah, I'll go a step further. Jay Short with a super chat says, I think Kendrick is a great rapper, but I feel like Kendrick is trying to be the face of hip-hop while circumventing the hip-hop culture. The lack of appearances on hip-hop songs and media is disrespectful. It's an interesting observation. The feature game is very low. I think in today's time, or just in general, if we're talking about anything outside of the 80s, you can't have a low feature game and be thought of so high. Biggie's feature game is way tougher than his. And Biggie's been gone for 28 years.
Everybody on that list feature game is tougher than his.
Well, let's go through that again. Let's see. Obviously Jay, obviously Nas, obviously Pop, obviously Eminem, obviously Biggie, obviously Wayne, obviously Drake, obviously Snoop, Nicki as well, obviously Kanye, obviously Andre, Rakim, the few that he's done, I would even say his feature game is better.
Hey, hold on, Mike. Pause for a second. How many of the top 10 rappers on their list has Kendrick done work with?
Good question.
Because Eminem has rhymed with Jay. This is what I'm saying about Eminem and how it is.
You there? You cut out for a second. Cool.
That was the haters.
That was
the West Coast. That was
Okay, we back.
That was
We back.
Kendrick.
That was Kendrick.
That was Kendrick's camp trying to hold me down.
Okay. So, all right. So you said,
Eminem's rhyme with Jay,
uh-huh.
right? His rhyme with Nas,
Yep.
right? I mean, technically on a track with Biggie, right?
Technically, yes. Rhyme with
Technically
Wayne.
on a track with Tupac, right?
Yeah, I think they've done. Yeah.
Yeah. Technically Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snoop. Yep. Nicki. Yep. M's rapped with every rapper on their list. Now let's go down Kendrick. Has Kendrick done a song with Jay?
He's on the Jay's on the Bitch Don't Kill My
The
Vibe
remix.
remix. Yeah.
What about Nas?
Not yet. We hadn't seen that. We seen them in a picture together.
That's nice. Oh, that's great. That's what we wanted to see. Was the picture.
Tupac. No. Eminem. Biggie. Wayne, yes. He's on the Carter 5. But you know what? Even with those being said, these aren't really memorable collabs.
Do you even remember these? No. Drake. Drake's on Poetic Justice, so.
Yeah. Snoop has a hook. Wait a minute. Hold. Kendrick and Snoop hadn't traded verses before? That's not possible, right?
It's definitely not West Coast.
That's interesting. Hold on. There has to be a song out there that we're missing that Snoop and Kendrick have done together. There has to be. What about Nicki?
Mike, why don't you remember it? If it happened, why don't I remember it?
What about Nicki?
Negative.
No More Parties in LA with Kanye. That's the best feature, I think, of all the ones that we just mentioned.
Oh, the ones we mentioned. I'm about to say, I think his best feature might be an R&B feature. That might be How Many Drinks with Miguel.
Man, I don't even remember that verse. I love his verse on No More Parties in LA, though. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, you know I rock with you, but Esco, just the Scarface movie. Reasonable Doubt, American Gangster 444 is Godfather 1, 2, and 3. What we talking about? He's trying to get this started. Andrea Green with the super chat says, in short, I think Kendrick is held so high because he is literally the antithesis of Drake. Like Kendrick is hip hop in the purest form and Drake is pop. I understand that, but I understand that concept. But for a publication like Billboard that's based on numbers and based on pop success and how well a record does in radio, to take that criteria, I find problematic. It doesn't seem consistent because they want to take that type of criteria as it relates to Kendrick and Drake, but don't want to take that same criteria as it relates to Ice Cube and 50 or something. You know what I mean? It just seems inconsistent in that way. Eric Terrell says, and the big one, LL Cool J. Eric Terrell says LL should be top 10. He did everything first. And on Billboard's list, I feel like LL should be higher. I think Drake should be higher and LL should be higher, because this is Billboard. And Ja Rule shouldn't be excluded. You want to get to what Ja Rule said?
Yeah, please, feel free.
Ja Rule tweeted, there ain't 50 rappers dead, alive, or waiting to be born better than me. Icon, Vibe, Billboard. Congrats to everybody on the list. Well deserved. But check my resume. And check his resume I did. He has multiple #1 records on Billboard. Multiple top 5 hit records on Billboard. He has given hit records to the likes of Jay-Z, Fat Joe, Jennifer Lopez, and others. And he wasn't included at all on this list. I feel like this list is very Interscope heavy. And so I don't know if Ja Rule was being punished for that, per se. But when you got 50 at 17, you got Kendrick at 2, you got Dr. Dre as a rapper on the list at 40, you got Eminem at 5, you got Snoop at 8. It just seems, seems like that could possibly be what's going on here.
I told you there's another rapper we're missing too, Mike, because I went through the list. There was another Interscope rapper, Busta.
Oh, yeah, Busta. I feel like there's another one too that we're missing in this conversation, but yeah. But
Probably,
these are all top 20. I mean, let's look at the top 20 in itself. 50's right there, 17.
man. This is the machine network too.
I mean, if Rakim would have stayed at Interscope, maybe he'd be number one like he should be, or top three. Snoop is at 9. Excuse me, not 8. You got well, shoot, Tupac's Interscope as well. That's 4.
There we go. That's the guy we were missing.
5 and Kendrick 2. Yeah, can't forget Tupac. He was the first artist signed to Interscope, I think, or at least first hip hop artist. Mad Max with the super chat says K Dot ain't even sell 10 million records worldwide, but he's 2. And Coop, mad people don't have Bron top 5. In my opinion, you can't be top 5 with a losing finals record.
Oh no, I can't say that. That's just going too far at this point. I mean, it's all about what you prefer at the end of the day, but objectively speaking, you can't watch this man play basketball and look at the resume and his accomplishments and say he's not a top 5 player. Mike, he's top 5. Well, he is the all-time leading scorer now. He's top 5 in assists. He's been to 10 NBA finals. He's got 4 MVPs. He's got 4 rings. He's got 4 finals MVPs. It's like, no, like that's top 5.
And you also got to look at the people who beat him.
He's led the league in scoring and assists, albeit just one time each time, but he has done that as well.
Many of those losses that came from, the finals or even getting to the finals is based on the fact that people had to team up to actually beat him.
Well, see, Mike, when you say team up, this is what I mean when I say this. So, and I'm glad that we're bringing this up and talking about this right now, right quick. This is going to be a quick sidebar, Mike. Mm-hmm. I pulled up those Bulls teams, opponents, their rosters from the 90-91 Lakers team, mm-hmm. the 91-92 Blazers team, and the 92-93 Suns teams. Mm-hmm. No, Mike, these teams were loaded. First of all, the Showtime Lakers were not over. Magic Johnson and Michael Thompson were the only people who were in their double-digit seasons with that team. This team had Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Vlade Divac, A.C. Green, Sam Perkins, Byron Scott, and Michael Thompson, who all averaged double figures, Mike.
It was a good team.
Okay. No. That's not a good team, Mike. There's 4 Hall of Famers right there. Magic, James, Sam Perkins, and Vlade all made the Hall of Fame. That's
all
4
jokes aside, a lot of people picked them to win that finals.
Yes.
And they won game 1, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they had 4 Hall of Famers on that team. So that whole Mike didn't play competition thing, it's like, okay.
I'm not saying Mike didn't play competition. I would never say that.
That's real competition, and that's depth, too. I just named you 7 guys.
I think all of those teams are competition, to be real, man. I just think that the teams that LeBron lost to, I mean, they were better teams for the most part. I think the only team
that's what I'm trying to tell you, that LeBron lost to teams that Mike beat. Like, LeBron played a lot of deep teams that was 6-7 deep with guys that could score double figures.
Right.
That's what all these teams that Mike beat are. That's what I'm trying to show. Danny Ainge, Clyde Drexler, Kevin Duckworth, Jerome Kersey, Terry Porter, Clifford Robinson, and Buck Williams, all double-digit scorers on the 91-92 team. Mm-hmm. Clyde averaged 25 that year. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like Terry Porter averaged 17 that year. Buck averaged 15 that year. Cliff Robinson averaged 15 that year.
I used to get that team on double dribble, man. They had everybody.
Mike, the 92-93 Suns, once again, first of all, this is understand I'm naming 6 or 7 players where double-digit scoring. And it's kind of funny. Danny Ainge is on the 92-93 Suns, too. Danny Ainge, Charles Barkley, Richard Dumas, Cedric Ceballos, Tom Chambers, and Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson all averaged at least 12 points a game, Mike. Mm-hmm. That's 7 players who averaged at least 12 points. Don't tell me that LeBron played tougher teams. He didn't. Mike's just better.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to argue.
Those teams that I named are just like those Spurs teams. They're just like those teams. Like the Durant team is different. Losing to Durant twice.
Yeah,
but the rest of those teams are comparable.
I was going to say, I think what really throws his finals record out of whack is that Golden State team that won twice. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, it's not the Golden State team. It's the Durant Golden State team.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
No.
those are 2 L's he doesn't take, Mike. So imagine
Yeah.
he's sitting here 6-4 with the same number of rings as Mike.
Exactly.
And is the all-time leading scorer in top 5 in assists.
Exactly. No,
So
I agree.
he's easy top 5.
I agree.
he's
So
easy
that's why I
top
don't
5.
get caught up in that whole, he lost this many finals, because that Kevin Durant Golden State team, man, like, there was nothing that was going to happen for him to beat them. You know what I mean?
I would like it would probably have to be like Mike's 95, 96 season Bulls, like 86 Celtics, 84 Lakers. Those are like the only teams that like would have beat that Golden State team.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty. So, but I hear you. But it's like, but also too, it's like a lot of the time people feel like Mike didn't play competition. It's like no, because when you're looking at these teams,
I would
like
never
Mike,
say that. No, I would never
Mike,
say
how many
that.
people on the Bulls do you think were averaging double figures?
No, Michael's just better than everybody, man.
Right.
That's
It was
all
Mike
that
and
was.
Scotty and Horace Grant averaging double figures. They're playing against teams that are literally 6 or 7 deep with guys that can go get 15 to 20 a night, and they're beating them.
He just had a motor that wouldn't stop, man. Like he
just
had a
wouldn't quit.
level.
Take
It was like,
that.
and he would take that level to the next level. It's like you weren't going to beat him. Like it's like watching those, those replays or everything in slow motion when he's coming up and people are jumping after him to block him. And when they're coming down, he's still going up. Shit is crazy. Like it's like he has a different gear that he could kick into. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, "I'm baffled on how you can have Kendrick over Nas. That's wrong. That's like people today trying to put Mahomes over Brady. Body of work matters. Be objective and respect the people who did the work." I think that's the thing with these lists. Like a lot of people try to make it seem like, and I don't know if Billboard and Vibe are doing this to kind of stop people from doing lists. Doing lists isn't the problem. The artists and the fans just want people to be fair. You know what I mean? Ja Rule's not going to go out here and say, I'm better than LL Cool J or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you do things that are blatant to the point where you're almost trying to erase what he did from the history books, that looks kind of crazy. And like I said, the game needs to come out here and say something too. Him not being on the list is insane. And that's another thing that makes this look like it's very Interscope favorable as well. You got people like Game and Ja who aren't on the list at all. And I mean, again, what are the qualifiers here? Are we talking about hits? Are we talking about impact? Because like it or not, Ja Rule has impact.
I mean, I would venture to say that for his time and his reign, he had more impact than even Kendrick did. That's what's the problem with putting somebody
Kendrick
like
doesn't
Kendrick.
have a lot of impact. Show me where Kendrick's impact is. I could really say the Game has more impact because he walked Kendrick and Nipsey in the door. Did he not?
Correct. And
he revived the West Coast for that time period.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time most people heard Kendrick was on Game shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it stuck too because Game, has that impact.
And Game kept putting them on shit too.
Exactly. Justin Jones with the super chat says, can y'all put Nelly in the mix? His output being ignored by these hip hop lists, just like Ja Rule, and his hits still get heavy radio play. Yeah, I mean, I think that there is definitely a place for Nelly. We've been
talking about Nelly here lately, though.
Yeah, I mean, I sing Nelly's praises when it comes to him doing what he did, breaking down barriers. I've never seen anybody from, come out of nowhere with no cosigns and hip hop be that successful. But we also have to have qualifiers here too. So it's like, we talking about, hit making ability, because I think I've said on this show before, I think he's one of the best, if not best, pure hit makers in hip hop. But that's not the only criteria.
If you're talking about like that one man band type of
where it's like, I don't need a well-known producer, I don't need a feature, I can just go in there and give you a hit. If we're talking about one person that you taking in the studio, you starting a label, and you need a record that's gonna go to radio, and you're trying to save your budget on not getting a super producer or anything, I might go with Nelly. Nelly might be the guy that I'm signing up because Drake needs some things. LL may need some things. But Nelly, he just needs Nelly.
I don't know if those guys need things. I think that what Nelly does unto himself is probably a greater pull off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot of the time, LL and Drake's best stuff is collaborative, and that's one of those things I'm talking about that I've learned from the Glove. It's like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's supposed to be a collaborative effort more often than not.
But even if we look at Nelly, right? He came out the gate, producer J.E. out of St. Louis or whatnot, right? Country Grammar, banger. E.I., banger. Ride With Me. All of these tracks were produced by J.E. But then the second album, let's bump it up and let's bring in the Neptunes. And like you said, that kind of helped. And then boom, it goes up another level.
Well, that's also, that's also finance too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when Nelly has proven that he can do it on a core level, and even when you bring in the big guns, he gets bigger.
He can give you a hit no matter what.
Yeah. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Wilt ain't top 5. He has a losing record. And Bron, he is on some stuff. He's on some special stuff. Man, come on. We're not going to talk about Wilt like that. Again, circumstances.
I don't think Wilt's top 5 either, Mike, but that's not disrespectful because he only has 2 rings, Mike. It's not disrespectful.
I hear you, but see, the thing is, that Celtics team was stacked, bro. Like, this is what we got to understand.
Mike, they were 6-7 deep.
Yeah. This is what we got to understand about basketball specifically. It's still a team sport. And if you have the better team, you're probably going to be the one to win. This isn't like tennis where it's just straight up or, playing doubles or something like that. If Wilt Chamberlain was a tennis player, nobody's beating this nigga. It's just what it is.
I think although it is a team sport, it is of all the team sports, the sport where the star player can impact it the most.
Oh, definitely, because you're playing both offense and defense.
Here's what I'm saying when I say that. It's like, when Kyrie got traded, people are like, man, the Mavs have a shot at making the Western Conference Finals or the finals. When Kevin Durant gets traded, it's like, Suns better win the title if they healthy this year.
Yeah.
There's levels to this shit.
No, I agree with that. I mean, but still, at the same time,
levels.
It's still a team sport, and that's why words like chemistry come involved.
Right.
And there's only one ball. Regardless of how great the individual is, there's only one ball. There's 10 guys out there. It's a team sport.
Okay, so listen to what I'm about to say. And this is why I have Bill Russell ahead of Wilt Chamberlain. Well, it appears to me that if Bill Russell wanted to, he could have put up very much Wilt-like numbers.
No, nobody can do that.
No. I didn't say Wilt numbers. I said Wilt-like. And if you go look at some of his rebounding numbers and how he played in some of the big games, don't tell me this man wasn't capable of it. Because he's got big games. But him as a team player understood that he had more talent and thereby facilitated and did all of the things.
But, and I'm not trying to, be whatever, but it's easier to do that when you know that you have the organization and the personnel to be able to rely upon.
But just like with Mike's teams, like those Mike teams, well, it was Mike and Scotty mostly, you know what I'm saying, against these 6 or 7 guys. And so Wilt was in very similar predicament as Mike with different results. And you want to know why that is? Is because Bill Russell is closer to the player that Wilt is than people ever gave him credit for, like one-on-one, man-to-man. Of course, he had the better team, but in a lot of ways, he canceled Wilt out. That's what people keep forgetting. He was that good.
I disagree with what you say about the Bulls. I think that Jerry Krause did a hell of a job when it comes to being a GM during Michael's tenure. He got him everything he needed.
He did a great job, but there's only they're playing teams where they got 6 or 7 guys averaging double figures, and there's 2 guys over here averaging double figures, sometimes 3.
Well, when you got a guy like Michael who's that dominant,
like Wilt.
Yeah, like Wilt, but again, it's coming from a guard position. It's easier to actually, because Michael's going to have the ball in his hand. You know what I mean? So it's easier to have guys like, Horace Grant, who could really be a double-double any night for any team. But he'll downgrade his game if he needs to because Michael's over there dominating and play defense. Now, again, I wasn't watching Wilt play, and I wasn't watching the teams he was on. I don't know what the defense was like for the guys that were playing with Wilt. But it just feels like we know what the caliber of player that Bill Russell was playing with. You know what I mean? Everybody's a Hall of Famer on that roster.
No. I mean, there's 6 Hall of Famers, I think.
Yeah, and you're not going to beat a team like
No,
that.
no. But Wilt is playing with 2 or 3 other Hall of Famers, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, before the Lakers, like he's playing with Hall of Fame players. But this is what I'm saying is that, well, people always talk about how Wilt got off. Go look at Bill Russell's numbers against Wilt, is what I'm saying. It's like, no. He couldn't stop Bill, though.
Hold on, let's look at that since we're on. And I know Basketball Reference does a good job to kind of match up the numbers. Let's see. Wilt Chamberlain stats. Since we're on live. Stats versus Bill Russell in their matchups. And I know, let's see, Basketball Reference. It pays to have 2 computers, right? Basketball Reference, boom.
Okay, so they played 94 games against each other, okay?
Okay.
Bill Russell's 57 and 37, okay? Now, Wilt Chamberlain is averaging 24.6 field goal attempts to Bill Russell's 15.6 field goal attempts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bill Russell is taking 4 free throws to Wilt's 12. Now, as far as rebounds go, Chamberlain is averaging 29 points and 28 rebounds against Bill Russell. Bill Russell is averaging 14 points and 23 rebounds against Chamberlain. You get what I'm saying?
I'll say that again.
14 points and 23 rebounds versus 28 points and 30 rebounds. 30 points and 28 rebounds are Wilt's numbers against Bill Russell. 94 games. That's including playoffs. So that's what I'm saying. Incredible. Is like, for Wilt to be as dominant as he was, well, Bill canceled a lot of that out. He's only 6 rebounds better, and you're right. He's playing with the better team. And Bill Russell's 14 points, well, he was only a 15-point per game scorer for his career, so that was kind of an indicator of how he played consistently. He always played team ball, but he could do a lot of the things. That's all I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, like, even for Wilt to have that many more rebounds than him when he's also taking on the scoring load, I mean, you would think, with all the Hall of Famers that Bill Russell's playing with, that he could at least out-rebound Wilt, right?
No. Wilt, don't get it twisted. Wilt's the superior athlete specimen and taller person, so I expect Wilt to average more rebounds.
And better rebounder.
No. He's a better rebounder because of the athleticism and sheer height and physicality. No, I'll give him that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that comparable, and listen to what I'm saying when I'm saying comparable. If you up Bill Russell's shot attempts, like as in give him 9 more shots, well, that puts his scoring average at about 23 points too. So it would be 23 points. If he shot like Wilt did, he would be averaging 23 points. So it would be 23 points and 23 rebounds versus 30 points and 28 rebounds. He's not that much better than Bill.
I don't like us having to add
that's all I'm saying.
In the conversation.
No, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is on this one-on-one, people look at it like Wilt would dominate Bill. It's like, no, he wouldn't. If Bill took the same amount of shots, he would average about 6 less points, and he averaged 6 less rebounds. It's comparable.
Didn't Wilt get 55 rebounds in a game on Bill Russell?
It was a game 7, as a matter of fact, where Bill Russell hit the winning free throws, if memory serves.
KC1 with the super chat says, what's a better 4-album catalog? Paid in Full, LTRH, Don't Sweat the Technique, 18th Letter, A Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Blueprint, Black Album. That's very random.
Mike, it literally has every game that they played lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Like in order, and like what they did that game to each other, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, gotta love the stats of today. I think that if we're talking about those 4 albums, since you're skipping around the albums, I might go Jay, because I might go Jay. If you pick Jay's best 4 albums, that's tough to beat for anybody.
Yes.
Let's see. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Me Against the World or The Diary? The one that got Dear Mama on it.
It's funny. I probably think Me Against the World is probably the better piece of work, but I listen to The Diary more. Mm-hmm. I'm more partial to The Diary. That's one of those things where it's like, well, if you're asking me personally, The Diary. If you're asking me objectively, it's Me Against the World.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Sex and Violence or The Predator? I'm going Sex and Violence. 36 Chambers with the super chat. We got 36 Chambers in the building. What up, man? He says, Nelly not a top 50 and is closer to a pop star. No longevity, and the only play that he gets are those old school hip hop stations that play easy to license top 40 hits from the early 2000s, respectfully. Not. Okay. This is what I'll say. And I know that, you guys don't want to hear me go down this rabbit hole. I was living in the 2000s, and I remember listening to the radio heavily, and I was actually working in radio at that point. Nelly got way more play on hip-hop radio than Eminem did. So I would say Eminem's closer to a pop star since we want to, go down that road. I mean, maybe the way Nelly kind of did things was a little off-kilter to many quote-unquote rapidy rap fans, but if you ask me who's the pop star between the two, I'm going with Eminem. I would say Nelly's more of a hip-hop artist. At least he was getting played more by hip-hop radio and hip-hop DJs and hip-hop settings. And he was doing hip-hop features, but whatever.
I do find Eminem to be the superior MC to the two, but I do understand what you're saying.
Has Eminem ever did a feature on an R&B record?
Well, that's a fascinating question, but that's what I mean. Is like, well, that's not a rhythm question. That's a soul question.
Why is that? If of all these people that we have on this list here, Jay-Z clearly's been on an R&B record. You just talked about Kendrick on the Miguel record. Obviously, Nas has done it. Obviously, Tupac has done it. Biggie's done it. Only You. We've heard Wayne on a whole bunch of R&B records. Yeah, everybody on this list has been on an R&B record. Even the guy Rakim. Has Eminem ever been on an R&B record?
He wouldn't be who I would call either, Mike. Just, truthfully.
But I'm asking you, why hasn't this happened?
But what I'm telling you, too, is that if I was in artist executive role, like let's say it's 1999, Mike. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I can have Snoop, Nas, Jay, you know what I'm saying? Or Eminem. It's like, oh, well, boom, boom, bam. Well, it's like, well, let's go. Well, hold on. Well, let's go like viability, vibe, soul. You know what I mean? Like has this is my executive mind talking. It's like, no. I wouldn't pick him over those guys in that time period. Let's go like 5 years ahead. Ludacris, Nelly, Ja Rule. It's like, no, I wouldn't pick him over those guys to do a R&B record either. Like what is the subject? Like, what about his subject matter makes you think that he's a viable category?
I'm going to ask you a serious question, Coop. What top flight rapper in hip hop has never been on an R&B feature? Come on now. We got to, like I say with Andre, man, what MC doesn't have a song with 3 verses? What top flight MC in hip hop does not have a feature on an R&B record in this culture?
I feel you, Mike. It's a slippery slope, and I'm going to tell you what's slippery about it. No, let me explain to you why it's a slippery slope. Because the God only got 2 that I can think of, Mike, and that's the Jody Watley joint and the Truth Hurts joint.
I agree, but you know what? Like I said before, he comes from a whole different era, and he still
that was modern day times, Mike. And this is another thing too, and I've thought about this.
But he still has that. You still were able to name 2. Do you have any for him?
No, but listen to what I'm about to say. We got to stop giving maybe some of those older guys too much credit when they didn't evolve the way the next generation did, i.e. Nas, Jay, Snoop. It's like, no. I can look at Rakim and be like, well, no, fam, you should have done more than 2 like R&B features when you was coming back, because that was the thing to do then, and you were tied to Aftermath, and you're the God. I'm sorry, you want to know it? It would be 3, because the whole Streets of New York thing with Alicia Keys. So I guess he's got 3.
That was dope too. Now, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but again, you're asking for people to adjust. And, I think that's a different thing than somebody who actually came up in the game when it was already the thing to do.
No, Mike, you're asking a viable question. And so like calling that out, I don't think that there's anything like unrealistic or problematic about you highlighting that or pointing that out. Because to be that high we don't want there to be cracks or flaws like when you're number 5 or when you're number 2. And so you putting that forth is a valid assertion.
And for us to feel like, again, that there are certain rules for a certain individual that don't apply to everybody else. Like, I mean, Nelly is on Where the Party At for Jagged Edge. Made that a hit. Like, that was the thing to do in that era that these MCs came up in, where it was like, you had to have that R&B feature where you spazzed out on, a record like Jay did on the Maya's Best.
You want to know what? Rakim got 4, actually, Mike. Rakim is on Claude Debussy's The Art of Noise.
You remember when LL jumped on that Mary J. Blige remix? That shit's fire.
I was actually thinking about Nas and DMX on Sincerity. I was like, man, they murdered that joint.
007 with the super chat says, dig deeper when you have time and go analyze the teams that MJ beat on his way to the finals compared to LeBron's. It's not even a conversation. Now, I will give you that, 007. The Eastern Conference was pretty weak during LeBron's, tenure for the most part. Jay Short with the super chat says, Coop, any team with Vlade as a number 1 option is not a great team. And Mike also had the best two-way player, best defensive power forward, best shooter, BJ and Kerr, and best coach, and best Euro, and the best Euro.
Fam, know your history. James Worthy led that team in scoring. Magic was 2nd. Byron Scott was 3rd. Sam Perkins was 4th. Vlade was 5th on that team in scoring at 12 points a game. Yeah. They had hitters.
KC1 with the super chat says, I see LeBron and Jay-Z as the same. They want to tell everyone that they're the best, but we all know, we all seen with our eyes MJ and Nas. We're going to get to JB in number 1 too, by the way. Let's see. Rasir Gomez says, David Stern and the referees gave the Bulls the 93 Eastern Conference Finals versus the Knicks. We were up 2-0, and then the refs happened. And I'm a Bulls fan.
Bam. Mike happened.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, where is Ja on your list, guys? Did you implement him yet? We haven't yet. We haven't activated Ja yet. But, again, we'll add qualifiers to why we do or if we don't, Mad Max says, James Harden and CP3 took that KD team 7. Y'all gassing that KD Warriors, Shaq, and Kobe would smoke that team in 5. Now, I do think that Shaq and Kobe team would have beaten the Warriors. But again, that's Shaq and Kobe. LeBron ain't have no Shaq.
Which Shaq and Kobe team? Not the first one.
I would say 2000, 2001.
That's the first one. No, I don't think the first one would have. Maybe the second or the third one. Not the first one. First one would have got their ass whooped.
What you mean the first one? Which one? What are you talking about?
Isn't the first one the Pacers, right? Didn't they win the first one against the Pacers?
They did, and then they beat the Sixers.
Shaq got hurt, right?
It was the Pacers, then the Sixers, then the Nets.
Right, because Shaq got hurt against the Pacers, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And they would have lost the series right fucking there.
They definitely.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. Kobe not doing that. No, Kobe not doing that against that team. Not against that team. That's what I'm saying. Like, people forget history and how it happened. No, Shaq got hurt. They losing that series right there.
Who from Golden State would guard Shaq or Kobe?
The same way nobody else could guard Shaq or Kobe. They actually had enough people to score with them, unlike everybody else. That would actually be a series. I would pay to watch that. Yeah. Shaq would average like 45 and 30.
Yeah,
he would put up Wilt numbers.
They had nobodies for him because they were small. That small ball's not going to work against Shaq.
No. 45 and 30. Easy 45 and 30.
Yeah, they were too small. Mad Max
they have nobody. But there's nobody, Mike. Just like there's nobody in history that can, like, in the post stop Shaq. There's nobody like that can guard Kevin Durant, like including Kobe.
You know what? The way you're talking about Kevin Durant, man, they better win this championship this year.
Kobe even said that. Kobe put Kevin Durant as one of the 5 toughest players he ever had to guard. He only had to play against him like 3 or 4 years, Mike. Even Kobe said that shit.
Well, I mean, I think long shooters were difficult for Kobe. I mean, he also said same thing with T-Mac and Melo, too.
Same guy. I mean, McGrady and Kevin Durant are the same guys, just Kevin Durant's taller.
Yeah. Mad Max in the Super Chat says the only reason that KD's Steph team ran the league is because the teams were playing against they were playing against, including LeBron's team, had low IQ playing AAU one guy dominant ball, and the rest just stand in the corner. I can't refute that because there's a lot of that going on. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Childish Gambino, should he be on the list? I don't think Childish Gambino as an MC did enough. I would
concur with that.
Yeah, he was doubling his efforts through acting, singing sometimes, but as far as as a rapper, I don't think he did enough. Gary Pierce with the super chat says, practically all the NBA records are Wilt and someone else. Stop capping and disrespecting Wilt. I feel you, man. I can never disrespect Wilt. Wilt's that guy. Jay Short with the super chat says, those teams Jordan beat to get to the finals with one Hall of Famer were no better than the teams that LeBron beat. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Let's see. I think we got a couple more. Inspector with the super chat says, Kyrie been a head case for 7 years. He not trying the ball.
He's not.
We stand on two opposite ends when it comes to Kyrie. I'm rooting for him. I hope he wins. And Coop seems to not feel Kyrie.
No. I hope that he wins, Mike. I just know what's going to happen because I've been paying attention.
Jay Short.
I don't know what everybody else been doing.
Jay Short with the super chat says, looking at this list, Rakim is the only rapper whose resume and reputation is impeccable. Even Nas and Jay have detractors and haters. Rakim has none. Rakim stands alone, definitely. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Akon, Smack That, featuring Eminem. Is that his R&B feature?
There you go, Mike.
That's trash. Is that even an R&B song?
No, that is.
Is it? I don't know,
Akon.
Man. Akon's an R&B artist, but that's not an R&B song.
No, Mike, here's why I'm going to tell you that, because that got played on Black Radio.
Did it?
You know it.
Locked Up got played. Down here. Locked Up
got played heavy on Black TV.
Yeah.
Smack That was on Black Radio.
Was it? I don't think so, man.
Like it was. You need to stop that.
All right, let's look this up. We're doing a live show. Hold on. Smack That. And you know what? And if that's the record that he has to go to, that is trash. I'm sorry, man. It's very bad.
I didn't say it was good, Mike. I'm just telling you.
Let's see. I want to see what its chart position was. Smack That, Akon. We want to deal in facts over here. You know what I'm saying? Akon. I was listening to some bars that I feel like Drake was giving Kendrick on that Her Loss album.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Let's see. Chart performance. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Where is it on the R&B charts? Okay. It was number 2 on the pop charts. On the R&B charts, it was number 34.
No, that's solid.
Is it? How you number
Mike,
2 on the pop?
No. Most of your favorite rappers' big features are like somewhere in that range if you'll go check.
Wait a minute. No. This is what I'm saying. If you're number 2 on the pop charts and you're number 34 on the R&B charts, it's a pop song.
But Mike, in order to be number 34 on the R&B charts, it's getting played on Black Radio.
Very little. But
it's getting played. You didn't ask how much. You said it wasn't getting played. If it made it to number 34, that means it was getting airplay, Mike.
Let me see for Jagged Edge where the party at, just for our listeners. Just to.
That's a banger, Mike. That's number 1 for the summer. That might have been the biggest banger that summer.
Yeah, I just want to put a qualifier out there for what it usually looks like when you're charting on the R&B charts in relation to
we'll see how where the party at did on the pop charts.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So it was number 1 on the hip hop and R&B charts, and it was number 3 on the pop charts.
So it's pretty big.
Yeah, but just like the other Eminem argument that I had when we were going through the charts, if you're high on the R&B and hip hop charts,
yes,
then you're going to be slightly lower on the pop charts. It only flips with Eminem's involved. Just like Smack That was way higher on the pop charts than it was on the R&B charts.
And that's true, but even by your own premise, you're not being fair because you just compared him to the person who you just called a few minutes ago the best pound for pound hit maker in hip hop. So why are you comparing his record to the best pound for pound hit maker in hip hop's records?
Well, should I go for another one?
No, because listen to what I'm saying. You just said Nelly was the best hit maker, and then you went to one of his songs. You didn't go to nobody else. You went to your top.
So well, I was just talking about R&B features. I mean, I could.
That's what I'm saying. But you just said Nelly's the best hit maker, and you just said Nelly made that song.
He did. That was just the one that was the first one that came to mind. We were just talking.
Of course, it did. Was your favorite hit maker's biggest hit record?
Well, right. If that's the R&B song that Eminem has,
pull up. How about this? Pull up. Like this is what I mean. Pull up. What's that shit Jay did with Mariah Carey, Mike?
Are you talking about Heartbreaker?
Yeah. Pull that up.
Well, I mean that's Mariah though.
Nuh-uh. Ain't nobody trying to hear that, Mike.
I was thinking that you were gonna say like Toto and Biggie or something, but okay.
No. We can pull that up too. That was probably number 6 on the R&B charts and like number 40 on like the pop charts. Yeah. You can check. I'll check. Can't You See?
Yeah, check. Can't You See? Or maybe 112 and Biggie.
Let's stick with Can't You See. We don't want to go too low.
Okay. Let's see. So with Mariah, and again, this is Mariah Carey, by the way. Yeah, she's number 1 on the hip hop and R&B charts, and on the pop charts is number 1 too. So I mean,
for Heartbreaker was number 1.
Yeah, it was number 1 on both. Yeah,
the Jay-Z version. Mm-hmm. It says featuring Jay-Z.
She won a box with Jay-Z. Yeah. She won a pillow fight in the middle of the night. Unless you want to do the one where she had the Brat and Missy in them.
No.
That song was dope.
No, it wasn't.
You ain't like that? That shit was dope.
I didn't.
Justin Jones with the super chat says Rakim did 2 records with Jody Watley. Facts, man. Rakim got more R&B features than M, and that was way before his era to even do that.
Okay, so Can't You See on the hot R&B and hip hop songs was number 11, but on the Billboard 100 it was 66.
See, that's it's normal, and that's a classic. And you'll go out tonight. It's a Friday night. You're going to go in the clubs where people of color are at. And you're going to hear Can't You See. You ain't going to hear Smack That. Jonathan Coleman with the super chat says.
I don't know about that, Mike.
Man,
I can't confirm or deny that, Mike. We're not outside. You can't confirm or deny that, Mike.
Bro, if I walk into a spot and they playing Smack That, I'm making a U-turn out of that bitch. This is not the place I need to be at. If you got 2 venues, are you walking into the place that's playing Can't You See or the place that's playing Smack That?
You don't have any evidence, and quite frankly, I'm judging the establishment by the women inside it.
Okay, which women do you think are going to be more your speed? The one that's jamming the Can't You See or Smack That?
Mike, I've been around the world, and
Lord.
Women are funny, so you never know where they might be.
Shout out to my sisters out there. Jonathan Coleman with the super chat says, "What do you think, guys, about the Game and Ja Rule not making it on the top 50 list?" I've been talking about the Game not being on there. What I think, since you want to say those 2 names specifically, it feels like an Interscope thing. Feels like the Game and Ja don't jive with some of the people that were on that list that are very high on the Interscope chain. That's what it looks like. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I think. What is this? Is it Benji? Shout out to you. Super chat. He says, M on rhythmic hip hop beats. Kanye Stir Crazy. DJ Spinner. 36 Hive. I'm sorry, 365. Neptunes Unreleased featuring Royce. And DJ Clue. What the Beat featuring Method Man. Man, you gotta go.
What the Beat featuring Method Man. Yeah.
You know what, guys? If we gotta dig that tough, it's a problem.
I like the professional part too. I actually think it might be better than part 1.
Really? Never heard anybody say that. Disagree.
Yeah, it's got Live from the Bridge on there. It's got the J over the Who Shot You beat on there. It's got the What the Beat Do on there.
Nah. It's not.
Yeah.
Nah, Casey.
What's on part 1 that you love so much, Mike, outside of Fantastic Four?
Well, It's got Fantastic Four. It's got if it's on its own, X. One of my favorite Nas records of that time period. Queens Niggas Rock Ice and Smoke Hydro. Keep P for the beef and never hide, Joe. Got that.
I like Live from the Bridge more. I think Live from the Bridge's flow is more fluid.
Got the record with Ja and Jay. I understand why y'all niggas is mad at me, man. And then, not to mention the Missy record where they flipped that Special Ed record. They got the Kim record.
Too long.
No, they got the Kim record where it's got the Rakim flip, and it's another record that I'm missing that I really love from that album. Oh, Rough Riders Anthem remix. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, at this point, Mike, I want to see you go bar for bar with Eminem. I'm rooting for you. I mean, Eminem's not going to go bar for bar with anybody. He needs to answer to this, the Black Slim Shady first. I think that's why the game's not on the list, actually. It's the Black Slim Shady is what it is. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike will do anything to make M jump through hoops for any qualifier. Can't do anything without a little bit of hate.
I'm going to listen to The Professional tonight. Part 1 and 2.
The Professional's dope. Jay Short with the super chat says, you can't release 5 straight albums like Eminem has the past decade and a half and be top 5. He's tried everything and it won't work without a gimmick. I think that's fair too. I mean, at what point do we say, if you're continuously active and you haven't made a critically acclaimed effort in 21 years, it's like, does none of this drop the legacy any? I mean, these are forgettable albums. These are bad albums.
I don't know, Mike. We might have to Patreon the DJ Clue albums. I'm looking at Part 2's list with Redman's track Red, Live from the Bridge.
I'm down to do that, man. I love The Professional.
Back to Life of Mary J. Blige and Kiss starts off this album. Fantastic Four Part 2 is just as good to me. Coming for You with Beanie Siegel and Freeway. Ooh, yeah. I
like that record.
Yeah, I do too. All right, go ahead. The beat with Royce and Method Man. M with Top Notch Competition again. Rapping next to Top Notch Competition again.
How'd that turn out? I don't remember. It's not memorable. It's not. I forgot all about it.
It's on a Clue tape. You're not supposed to remember it like that. What do you remember from a Clue tape?
I remember Queen's Finest by Nas. I remember Gangsta Shit with Jay and Jai.
Nas and Jay. That's not fair. It's Nas and Jay. Of course,
I remember DMX.
You mean 1 and 2?
I remember DMX if it's on its own.
You mean the real 1 and 2?
I remember DMX if it's on its own.
It's X, Mike. It's Prime X. Like, you need to stop that.
Always keep my enemies the closest. Always make sure I know where the toast is. Huh?
It's literally when he came out.
Smiles and Wave with the super chat says, just sending love. Hard for me to make these live shows recently. You guys keep on, keep on top of it, and I appreciate it. KD4. Oh yeah, let's get to that. 50 Cent got on Billboard and said that, he's been working with Nas. Well, he did a feature with Nas, and I think he said he's doing an album with, Dr. Dre and Eminem too. Now that could be true, and we'll never hear it, but. He also said that Nas, he did a feature for Nas for KD4. Do you know anything about the possibility of a KD4, or could we be seeing a Magic 2, or what's going on?
No, none of that. There's a whole show being prepped for.
Okay. So
there's a whole show.
No KD4 is being worked on, as far as you know.
No, literally.
Do you think it would be a good idea to do a KD4?
I mean, that depends on how this show goes. It's rehearsal time. Like that's what I mean. You want to know what's crazy about 50 saying that? It's like, this is during rehearsal time, nigga. It's rehearsal time.
So are you inferring that there's a possibility if this show goes the way that it is wanted and expected, that there could be a KD4?
No. What I'm saying is you're dealing with an artist who's 50. It's financially free. So it's really like whatever the fuck he kind of wants to do next. So it's like, we'll see what happens after the show. I just know the show right now is the focus. Now, I was told that him and 50 may do something, but it's not attached to any sort of project with any sort of KD4. involved, and like I mean, just mostly like Nas and Hit haven't confirmed that. So it's like,
Right.
right. I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't the Hit like with Benny right now, like
Yep.
working
Yeah.
on, right? So
They're
it's
working
like,
on some heat too. Sounds like.
right. So it's like I don't know how all of that is necessarily coming together per se when said rapper is rehearsing for a big Madison Square event in like literally about what 2 weeks? It's
About two
literally about
weeks.
2 weeks from
And we
today.
got to talk about that too. I wanted to hit you, offline so we can make sure that we in the building and it's going to be an exciting event. I want to ask you something though, just you personally, outside of just any conversations you may have had with Plug or whatever. Would you, as a fan, like to see a KD4 or a Magic 2? Or something all new together? If you had a choice.
None of the above, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This is what I mean about how the glove changed my mind about a lot of stuff. It's like this is the music business. And for everything else that he has going on, and for even the other avenues that he could travel through within the hip hop format to get money, I don't know if it's necessarily the wisest music business decision to go and make another album. Right now, I would prefer to see a feature run, and most notably, a feature run with a younger crop of artists that's going to bring a new level and a new fan base of notoriety to him that makes the process for him of making. And I would pick I would pick a KD4 over a Magic 2, me personally.
Mm-hmm.
If I was having, I would prefer that it go like that than just to be like, oh, well, back in album mode, because it's like, well, quite frankly, I don't see the purpose of that if it's not, gonna move the way that it should move for the product. I mean, like, think about how we talk about KD3, the music product. Like, it's supposed to reflect, like, in the manner that we talk about the Chronic and Doggy Style, and we can look at the numbers and be like, oh, well, it reflects. And that's not to say KD3 is a Chronic or Doggy Style, because it's not, but it still needs to reflect.
Yeah.
And I think the best way of letting it reflect is kind of what he did with Savage. And even though you may not like it, Mike, I was actually meaning to hit the plug about this too. It's like, I'm kind of curious about what EPMD2 did numbers-wise. Because putting Eminem on a record gets you a different type of traction.
Of course it does. No, I mean,
right.
no.
Well, how about this, Mike? I mean, you may not like it, but it's like, I prefer that he worked with Eminem and 21 Savage, because that seems to be making more sense that turn into dollars, as in cents instead of the cents that is like, making people, oh, well, he's the greatest MC of all time. It's like that's great. You're an Illmatic fan, and that really has nothing to do with today.
I guess I look at it different because I feel like, obviously music money is not really, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the music business is a great business for artists to get in to actually build a level of notoriety so that they can get into other more lucrative businesses. But the business of music itself right now is nowhere near as lucrative as many other ventures I'm sure he has going on. So I guess I don't think that, the music being monetarily, super lucrative in that sense, I don't think that he has to compromise the quality of it to do that. You know what I mean? I don't think he's at that point in his career, and obviously he has a whole lot of other stuff going on that even if he did have the biggest record in the world, still couldn't match some of the deals that he's doing, right? You know what I mean?
No, it's not that, Mike. It's that he need to make money off of it. Like,
no. You don't want to be in the red on it,
Right. It's like, how about this? It's like, well, I mean, Nas shouldn't have to do shows to pay for an album.
I agree.
Like in terms of like balancing a budget on a balance sheet. It's like, okay, we spent this for KD3 and we made this off of KD3, which means in order for that money to balance itself out, well, this show right here and this show right there takes care of that. That's not supposed to go down like that when you are, arguably the greatest MC of all time, according to Billboard and Vibe, the third greatest of MC of all time. You actually do have a litany. Like, Mike, when you really check his catalog, it's like, no, he has a litany of like hit records
Did
You
you
know what I'm
see
saying?
DJ Academic's list? He
I saw it briefly this
he
morning,
actually
but it's
had
hard to.
Nas at number 2. And again,
Yeah,
I
he
don't think,
should.
and he's a super Drake fan. He had Drake at number 1. He had Nas at 2 and Jay at 3.
Well, I
This
mean, Drake and
doesn't,
Nas like
huh?
have a good relationship, and Academics probably knows that. So that's
Yeah.
probably not too far fetched in Academics' mind, knowing what he probably knows behind the scenes too.
And I also feel like this KD run has been important for that. Now, I think we might not see it in the mainstream because obviously the mainstream media is going to ignore Nas as much as possible. Even when, KD 1 came out, they were trying to bash it until they got backlash from the people on that bullshit. So I think that even with those things not being, I guess, out there on the mainstream, people who really pay attention to hip hop and pay attention to the culture, Nas has really inserted himself to a different generation that has him over Jay. Because let's keep it real. Somebody who's 25 years old, what reason do they have to put Jay over Nas?
But this is what I'm saying.
You know what I
So it's
mean?
like, so when you're telling him, so if you're asking me, like, we'll do KD 4 right now or do Magic 2 right now, it's like, oh, hell no. Why would you do that? Like right
No,
now.
I agree
Like,
with what
this
you're
is,
saying. I think that if he does a feature run that leads up to something like this, I think that'd be awesome.
but this is what I'm saying. Like that, listen to what I'm saying. Doing that and making the money off of that can pay for the album as well, depending on the artist that you're working with. And it's Nas. And one of the things about it is like, and this is what's been I think here's what's been so revelatory about these last few years for the public that maybe has been known behind the scenes or in the room, like the Glove would say. Well, all these young dudes really want to work with him. And so him getting these verses and pushing these numbers with them is not a problem. And maybe the money therein is produced before the album off of music to thereby make that more reasonable and more palatable. Because I'm telling you
I
what,
see
Mike,
what you're
like
saying.
you get what I'm saying? So I'm talking about like what makes sense business wise for it to make sense, because it's like
Because you
we
want
ain't
the music
questioning
to
the
pay for
quality
the
of what's
music.
going on, are we? We're officially not, well, how the beat's gonna sound, or is it gonna be this, or is it gonna be that? It's like no, we done with that.
Yeah.
So it's like about, well, does it make sense for him at 50 years old, as hip hop is turning 50 with all these ventures, to go down that road?
Right. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick. Jay Short says, Coop, I know you don't forgot about Keep the Beat. I said, hold on. I know you don't forget Keep the Beat or Don't Sweat the Technique or Stay a while, off of 18th Letter. Both R&B style cuts, and they were discreet. Yeah. Rakim
No, I'm
got
not
that
saying the
R&B
guy
flow
can't
and
do
all.
R&B.
Yeah.
He made Mahogany. I think Mahogany might still be like a top 5 or 10 like rap love song. Like, I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying he hasn't done a lot of R&B centered guest appearance tracks. Stay a While is his record. Mahogany, his record.
Yeah, but they have an R&B flavor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Andrew
definitely.
Green with the super chat says, didn't hear y'all talk about the Grammy performances yet. We should talk about that. What do y'all think about Big Boy being up there and celebrating 50 years of hip hop with no Andre sighting? Also, God Did's performance. Well, to answer your first question, that's predictable. Big Boy's here. He's here for the culture. He's here to represent the Outkast brand.
Well, I actually wanted to, and I don't know if we're going to have time to, I kind of wanted to go down a little Big Boy hole a little bit, because
We can do that.
I'm glad that he's getting, I'm glad that we're bringing it up, because, often too, I think people think that we just ride for certain people, and really we just ride, at least for me, I try to ride for what's right.
Yeah.
And
try to be fair, man.
And it's really this whole Big Boy thing and the disrespect, like, it's really bothering me, Mike. And it's hard for me to separate it from somebody who was raised in Atlanta, from it being an Atlanta thing. So I've been really spending the last couple of weeks trying to step back and look at it objectively. Objectively, everybody fucking up, Mike. Like the Atlanta, like take the Atlanta in my heart out, and let's just look at it for what it is. And it's like, how about this? Let's say that by some chance Andre is Michael Jordan and Big Boy is Scottie Pippen. You do understand that Scottie Pippen is still on the top 50 and top 75 greatest players list, even though most people might have Mike at number 1. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
So even if you are giving him Scottie Pippen treatment, and listen to what I'm saying, by not having him in the top 50 and having Dre at 12, you're not even giving him Scottie Pippen treatment.
And you know, and to
he's
get,
a Hall of Fame MC.
To get to that correlation, we knew what Michael Jordan was and who he was and what he was about before Scottie Pippen even came along. And even when Scottie Pippen came along, there were times where Jordan had to carry the team. There were flu games and things like that where, you know, Scottie Pippen was dealing with his back. That happens. There's been no moments as a rapper where we could sit here and say, you know what, Dre held that down. You know what I mean? Under the Outkast brand and umbrella. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got guest features, but those same guest features can be combated with Big Boy's great guest features.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to do, Mike, because I actually want to pull up the Outkast catalog, and then I want to pull up their features, and then I want to pull up Big Boy's catalog, so we're clear about who belongs of these two on the top 50 list, because it's like this. That would be... It's just like where? Like, what are you listening to? Because it's like, and here's what I mean. I want to run down the records, Mike. The more that I run through their records, I'm like, Big Boy could have had a hell of a solo career.
Yeah. MC with the super chat says, can we call out Nas and Jay for enabling Khaled? But I want to speak to that God Did performance too. Did you see that at the Grammys?
No.
I thought it was pretty awesome. And you know, I think that...
What was it, The Last Supper?
It was The Last Supper, yes. Now, one thing I didn't love...
We're just going to stack the blasphemy up is what you're saying. We're just going...
Well, that's a whole nother episode, and y'all can go on YouTube and, you know, see our breakdown of the individual verse. My critique here is about the performance. I thought the performance was impressive because you could tell Jay was sauced up that night. He was amped up. And for you to get on the Grammy stage, live television, I believe it was live, and knock out a 4-minute verse, and I mean, you know, I got to give it to him. It's dope. And again, I think one of the biggest things that adds to Jay-Z's repertoire as an MC and an all-time great is that incredible memory that he has, man. Like, his memory is second to none. I would say 2 things that separate him from everybody else. Conversational Jay and that incredible memory. And that memory was on full display when he did that verse. It was perfect.
I think Big's memory would be right there, but yeah. I hear what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it is that I didn't watch the performance because I just don't like the song that much.
Yeah, that's fair. Again, I'm a person that can kind of take all that out and be like, look, let me judge the performance, the songs, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like watching a video for what it is and just judging the quality of the video production without considering the song. You know what I mean?
You know, but it's just like Glove said. It's like, it's about the stuff that you choose to take in. It's like, I choose not to take some of that stuff in. It's like, it's one thing, like, there's blasphemy in jest to show your talent as an MC. And then there's just like blatant. And it's like, you know, I don't like,
Yeah, I feel you.
Everybody got boundaries, Mike.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says...
get you some.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Academic like Nas because Nas said that he was a legend. I think Academic feels like Nas accepted him before other legends. Academic had Rakim on his list too. Yes, he did. I mean, you know, it's impressive. Leroy Green with the Super Chat says, there are no KDs better than Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Blueprint, Black Album, American Gangster. Watch the Throne or 444. What are we talking about? You know, it's funny you say that, Leroy, because I actually listened to KD, KD2, and KD3 and Magic yesterday, and those are some really dope. I really forgot how dope KD1 was.
KD1 is dope.
KD1 is really dope, and I think it got understated because we didn't see the whole trilogy coming. This I will tell you. And Leroy Green,
it's just not as good as the other projects. That's the only problem with KD1 is KD2 and 3 and Magic.
Leroy's naming Jay-Z's best 3 albums. We're not even talking about Nas's best 3 albums. So I think even bringing up Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, and the Black Album are a little bit out of line. But I will say,
as much as I love Volume 1, I don't know.
KD3 is better than Volume 1.
Huh?
KD3 is better than Volume 1.
And maybe 2.
Maybe 2 as well. Magic is.
Magic is better.
I think all 3 of those albums are actually better than American Gangster too, and I love American Gangster.
I agree.
And I
would have
think
to
all
agree with
4
that.
of those albums are better than 444.
Well, that's because they are.
Yeah, you know. Watch the Throne's not a Jay-Z album, so we got to stop that.
And it's better than all of those. How about this? I think KD1's better than Watch the Throne, and that would probably be the weakest project of the 4.
And the fact that you got to throw Watch the Throne in there just lets us know what it is. How about we do this, Leroy? Let's do the last 4 albums from the artist, solo albums, right? So now we got KD3, we got KD2, we got Magic, we got KD1. So for Jay, that goes 444, Magna Carta, The Blueprint 3, and then American Gangster. Man, we got to go all the way back to 2007. So what we're talking about a 16-year span versus 4 years of work, huh? Come on, guys.
Start off strong, then you
wheezing in the back.
You gotta watch what you say out
like
here.
Like I said, man.
You gotta watch what you say out here.
Like I said, Coop, what real reason would a 25-year-old have to say that Jay-Z's better than Nas?
I never thought about it like that till you said that, but I was like, think about it. A 25-year-old right now, when Nas was dropping Nasir, that was what, 2018? 2018?
Yep.
Well,
that was sick. Well, what?
Well, let's say they're 25 right now. They were 20.
Mm-hmm.
Jay's done nothing since then. They don't even. They're hearing stories and they're seeing like Beyonce and like the lifestyle, but it's like musically speaking, I never looked at it that way. But you're making some valid points with that. It's
American
like
Gangster was 16 years ago. A 25-year-old was 9 years old when American Gangster dropped.
Yeah, and it's like, and also too, you know, the money in hip hop has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Jonathan Coleman with the super chat says, "Coop, do you know why Nas hasn't had more videos?"
I think I just actually highlighted and outlined it when I was talking about. I don't think
people really watch videos like that, right?
Well, this is what I'm saying. So, okay, so y'all want Nas to go, let's say, blow $150,000 of his own cash to give you a video for an album that, like, y'all haven't. You get what I'm saying? It's like, that's why it's like it got to start making sense. It's like, oh, no. If what Andre say on Elevators to talk about one of his better verses that we actually quote, if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck. That's what's going on. And it's like people like, oh, he got it like that. It's like you as a businessman or woman would not take money from your balance sheet over here and keep sliding it over here to feed a populace that's not really supporting it like they should. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I just
it's
think
not good business.
Anybody has to put money in the things that are going to make you money. It's just
no. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, well, if you want him to do another video, I suggest y'all strong arm, like, you know, like all these people that are doing like the radio injustices like I do. But mostly I suggest you buy more merch, vinyl, go to the show. You get what I'm saying? That's what I mean is it's like, no. It needs to make sense. That's why it's like, no. We'll even see what the merchandising and the notoriety that this show brings and how that turns and reflects into dollars because it's the music business. And it's like listen to what the Glove was saying when he was talking about the firm going platinum and they was being disappointed. That's because they're used to going triple and quadruple platinum. So how do you think hip-hop's greatest MC feels about doing 27,000 copies?
No, that's real. I mean, I think that his fan base, his real fan base, and I think it's really important to have a real fan base.
Real fan base,
other
people
than
don't talk about Illmatic all the time.
Well, no. I ain't talking about the Illmatic people. I think those are like in the closet haters. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to act like they're fan. That's not real. I'm talking about the real fan base. Because, I mean, the real fan base was in our station head that didn't even want to hear any songs from Illmatic. But what I was going to say, though, I think that real fan base does their job. I think the one thing, you hit the nail on the head, that the real fan base has to continue to do, and it doesn't happen overnight, put pressure on these people in New York radio specifically and shine a light on them because they're their radio play, that could change the trajectory of what these streams are generating financially. Because the reach that
Exactly.
they play the shit one time, that shit counts for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of streams just off of one play. And they refuse to do what's right by their own legends. And I think that the fans could definitely put pressure on that aspect.
And see, and here's what I mean about here's the jealousy aspect of it that you have to understand. All these people that could be playing these records for him and making it happen, you have to understand the man that's pushing the button is literally thinking in the back of his mind, well, Nas already good.
Right.
You feel me?
It's that hater shit.
That's a poisonous frame of mind to have. You get what I'm saying? That's a poisonous frame of mind to have. That's that fruit from the poisonous tree, like that gets us uprooted. I'm seriously, like as a people, when we let our oppressors dictate how we push those buttons, and people are like, oh, well, everybody got a boss. It's like, you want to know what, man? Like sometimes you need to tell your boss, fuck you, I got this.
And sometimes you got to walk away from the situation. Like people can say whatever they want about Ye, and you're welcome to your own opinion. But he chose to walk away from these situations, and as a result, Adidas, they're losing $1.3 billion this year. And you know what? And most people don't want to take those sacrifices and show the corporations or their boss that they are the draw.
Can I tell you something? Like, and I want to shout him out for this. Ebro right now and what he's been doing by playing Nas's records is proof that it's like, no, it's not that person upstairs that's totally got say-so. They do have some say-so. Because I'm going to tell you what, I don't know what's happened. And it was probably just listening to the quality of like what you would call quote-unquote real hip-hop that is KD3. I call KD3 modernized hip-hop. Like modernized like core hip hop. Like it's not Illmatic or Paid in Full or like Criminal Minded, like in terms of like that core hip hop aesthetic. It's modern day fundamental hip hop. And Ebro probably heard that shit and was like, what more can this nigga do?
Yeah.
Like what more can fam do? Like Ebro know his shit and he listening to the project and he just reached the point where he like, nah, fuck that. I'm playing this shit, and shout out to him for doing it. Now,
because at the end of the day, his credibility would take a hit for not fucking with something like this. You can't even give a reason why you're not playing a record like Get Light or Reminisce.
No, and he's been playing it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Now, here's my thing. Now,
I think the people did that, man. You guys did that.
No, but see, no. Like, I'm going to tell you what, just because I like him and I don't care for some other people as much, I've actually been following Ebro and how he's been moving through all this. I'm like, no. That ain't just the people. That ain't us. Like, something's been triggered within this man. I'm telling you, where he's just good. Like,
he knows his shit.
Like him and Nas about the same age. Him and Nas came into the game at their respective craft around the same time. And he kind of looks at the situation maybe a little differently. Like, hold on. Like, how am I not going to play fam?
Well, that's good to hear, man, because I know Ebro knows his shit. And I haven't been following it like you have, but yeah, that's good to hear.
But you have to. But this is what I'm saying. Like he sits in a very enviable and fortunate position in what we do. And when he's doing something like that, I just hope the other people that are beneath him in that genre, and we're one of those people, whether we like it or not, like are paying attention, because I have been, and I mean paying attention and actually like starting to do something about it. Like he's actually trying to do something, and he's not doing it by talking, he's playing the fucking records.
Well, that's good, and that's all we asked for. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, legit is not being a single with the video is a crime.
No, people not supporting it so that it can be financially feasible is a crime. Stop asking this man to go spend $250,000 to make a video of his own money. Like, I'm not doing that for you. Like, I'm telling you right up and down. Like, you got to look at it like this. It's like, well, do you have a family? Well, so does he. Do you have bills and responsibilities? Well, so does he. Like, people look at it, it's like, Mike, the most money that I've ever made is the most money I ever spent. You feel me?
Right. Mad Max in the super chat says, also a lot of younger people have come around to Nas because of Pac. Most Pac fans today like Nas because of the content similarities and Nas being a word genius.
Yes.
That's very prophetic, and that makes sense. Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Nas should use Drillmatic as a blueprint for the next album. Keep an eye on the streams with a lot of bangers, features, and young artists.
See, but this is what I mean. So it's like, how about this? I realize guys like me asking for a Raekwon feature are part of the problem in all this process. You feel me?
Well, he gave us an ASAP feature, and I love that.
No. And that's what I mean. Like, no. That's the move that's working right now. It's like people like me that want that Ray feature have to understand that for both of those guys, outside of the quality of what's going to come, because they always do quality work together, that's what's going to come, and that's not fair to either one of their legendary statuses.
They've done that before. And not
They've
to say,
done
like,
that before.
Yeah. And let's just be perfectly honest, guys. Like, whatever they do from here on out is not going to trump in the minds of the people who wanted what they previously did.
Well, here's what I'm saying, Mike. Maybe if they knew that the people who were supposed to play these types of records would play those types of records, maybe it would be happening. But because those people can't seem to get their shit together in radio, media, and TV, that's why these things don't happen. It's like, and that's what I mean is that my eyes are different now. It's because, these things don't occur, not about people not wanting to do it. Like, it literally needs to make sense and benefit them. This isn't 95, fam. They don't need to get on the infamous and do eye for an eye. You feel me? This ain't 95, nigga.
I mean, let's just
fresh out the project.
Let's just say if they really wanted to, the environment's different. You know, they're living different lives, and it's not going to translate in the same way. And not to say it wouldn't be quality, but for the people that will want to hear it in that same, trajectory, it's just going to be different. You know?
No. It's like I don't believe. I'm in the car with my daughter the other day. You know, my daughter will be 16 next week.
Wow, time flies.
Yes, it does. She's going to be driving home tonight when I go pick her up. I told her, I said, hey, and I'm not going to tell you what we were talking about because it was super close to home, but I'm like, hey, I said, stop paying attention to what people tell you. I said, and pay attention to how they're moving and what they show you through their actions. I said, stop listening to what these motherfuckers saying. You feel me? So people pull up and they clamor for things, and these things don't happen because for the artist, you're not really showing that. When Nas and Ray are getting together to do a joint, that should be platinum. Period. You understand? It don't make no sense for them not to do it if it's not that. What are we doing here? At this stage in the game. No, at this stage in the game, because think about it. That's because when you're asking for that, it's like, well, what if somebody like a Paul McCartney and a Joni Mitchell were to get together to do a record? What would it do? Oh, it would go through the roof and be stupid because they're legends in their craft and they're well known for doing this, and they're well known for doing this at the same extremely high level.
Well, let me ask you this.
It would show in the numbers, in the money when they did it.
I understand what you're saying.
This is the only genre of music where it gets together and it don't make sense. Mike, Alicia Keys and Nas and Rakim on the record. How do them numbers look?
Well, look, this is what I'm going to say. And based on your example with Paul McCartney and Joni Mitchell, if they were to do that, the media coverage would be crazy on it. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like on Good Morning America. I think everybody would have knowledge that it was out there. I think one of the problems
it would be wildfire, Mike.
I think one of the problems is when it comes to our legends and them connecting, we don't get that level of media coverage even from our own media. Even when we talk about Big Boy releasing, the projects he releases, Atlanta radio doesn't get behind it in the way it should. Atlanta television doesn't do the same thing. Or just, let's just say hip-hop media in general doesn't do what they're supposed to do when it comes to those legends. Hip-hop media is so centric with what's next and what's now. Even when we come up with our overall list, I have to tell people, like, look, you got to look at this kind of like how Rolling Stone does their best vocalist all-time list. We're not talking about who's, it right now. We're not making this an old fart list, but we have to make this a list that, for the people who have the most credentials. And, just to keep it real and just based on the decades that they've been around, artists from the 90s have the thickest resume because artists from the 80s, their careers, most of them outside of LL, spanned around like 6 to 9 years. The
KRS.
guys who were around, yeah, KRS as well. The guys who were around in the 90s, they have careers that span 25 plus years and they're still active. So when it comes to putting together an all-time list, we can't just act like that didn't happen. We need to do better by acknowledging the activity of our legends. And what we also do is the fact that when you have people who don't do anything, like an Andre 3000 or something, it's like we elevate that. We elevate the people who don't put in the work, and the people that are putting in the work, Big Boy, doesn't get any acknowledgement at all. And, to bring this whole thing back around to your example about Nas and Raekwon, I think that if culturally those pairings were made a big deal from a media aspect, we would get the result that it deserves. But just most people would be like, and people who are fans would be like, man, I didn't know they did that. I didn't know that came out. You know what I'm saying?
What kind of shit is that?
It's the lack of coverage. People got their lives.
No. Some of it is our broken mentality too, Mike. So let's go to what you just said. And this is exactly what I mean about a broken mentality. So y'all got a dude who just took 5 years off and dropped the Bad album at number 2. Mm-hmm. And you got a guy that's never done a 3-verse rap song unto himself, let alone have a solo rap album at number 12 on your list. So you're 2 and you're 12. One has only been here for a decade and took half the time off. The other one doesn't have a solo rap catalog, let alone a full solo rap song to speak of with 3 verses. If somebody pulls up in there and says a day in the life of Andre Benjamin, I'm going to lose my cool. Okay? So when you have publications doing these things, and then they do what they did that somebody sent me on Twitter to put the black face on it and have a panel of black people sitting around talking about it and explaining it, that does not rationalize the bullshit of what I see. You can give me 5 black people from different age brackets and demographic. You can have, the sister that was there when Angie Stone was there. You can have the sister that was there when Nicki Minaj, when there was a kid when Nicki Minaj was coming up. You can have your general hip hop heads. Like you can get your nice little panel together, make it look good. I'm not buying what you're selling because what you're selling's not real.
But they're not willing to go out there and even try to sell anybody anything. They're just going to put a list up and post it. Nobody wants to actually debate this list. They don't want to do that. Because whoever put this together, again, it's an open invitation here, anywhere, wherever y'all want to go to actually talk about this and why this list is bogus.
I tear the whole panel up.
Yeah. They can't, but they can't speak to this list.
I make quick work of them.
There's no way on earth anybody could sit here and justify Kendrick Lamar being at this number 2 spot. He doesn't have the resume for it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done some great work, done some great albums, right? You've been around since 2011. It's 2023. You had a break between 2017 and 2022. So basically your activity looks like 2011 to 2017, and we'll throw 2022 in there, which was some mid whatever. You're not qualifiable to be over people who put in years and years and decades and catalogs, countless catalogs of work. You're just not. Unless somebody just feels like on some LeBron James shit, he's just some leaps and bounds, has technical aspects that we've never seen before or something. And that's not the case.
So this is what I was about to say, Mike. Let's go back to that lyrical miracle thing. Like, I know this seems kind of strange. Like, Kendrick might be the better lyricist, but even when it comes to relationship with Game, I feel like Game even has what you would call more quote-unquote hip-hop quotable verses.
I'm not mad at that.
You feel what I'm saying? Because when people be like, Kendrick's this great lyricist, I'd be like, give me the verse. Be like, what's the verse? People be like, Control. I'd be like, no, give me the real verse where he's just like rhyming and like talking about something. Like, and this is what I mean. It's like, no, give me the verse that lets you know that this guy is outstanding. Like, let's go back to the standard bearer of this. It's like, when I knew Lil Nas was outstanding, it wasn't when I heard New York State of Mind, Mike. It's when I heard AZ rip Life's a Bitch up, and then I heard him come after that in rhyme. You feel me? And I was like, damn, it's like, that's one of the best verses I ever heard. I was like, I think that's one of the best verses I've ever heard, too. You get what I'm saying? Where's Kendrick shit like that?
I woke up
Game got more shit like that.
Yeah. I woke up early on my born day. I'm 20. It's a blessing. I'm a lesson. The adolescent keeps my body now refreshing. My physical frame is celebrated because I made it.
Yes, that's what
Wow.
I was like. I was like, no,
Jeez.
this nigga can still run. It's like, no, no, no. The guy that was on the first record, he exists, and he's on the second record. And Mike, guess what? He's on the next record.
Yeah.
And he's on the record after that.
Yeah.
Mike, and he's on the record after that.
And it wasn't
And
like
the
he was
record-
even trying. Like, after that amazing verse from AZ, it's like he came in there. It's like, yeah, that's dope. I'm just going to do my thing. And
I'm gonna do what
that's
I
one
do.
thing I will give Andre. And he said this on the life, I'm about to say the Great Adventures. A Day in the Life of Andre Benjamin. He just waits to get on the mic, waits his turn. And that's the mentality where it's like, I'm not trying to out-rap anybody. I just wait until, say it's my turn to get on the mic and I do my thing.
No, but-
and that's what I
this
get
is
from
what I'm
Nas,
saying.
too.
How can you hold Kendrick as some sort of supreme lyricist, Mike? Like, Nas has more hip-hop quotables on Illmatic than Kendrick has in his entire career. And I'm not joking when I say that.
And listen, man, and again, I know people think this is the Nas channel, and I'm only going to say this because Nas is the person that they have.
No.
Kendrick
This is
ahead
fair to
of.
actually say this because we have one at 2 and one at 3, Mike.
Let
This is
me
actually
finish
fair.
my thought real quick. It's like, Kendrick doesn't have a New York State of Mind. Kendrick doesn't have The World Is Yours. He doesn't have It Ain't Hard to Tell. He doesn't. I mean, these are just factual things.
These
and
are
if you want to
facts.
go from the album aspect of it, he doesn't have an Illmatic. That's number one. But individual songs and features and all that, I can name thousands and thousands of Nas records that he is not touching. He doesn't have a rewind. He doesn't. That's just the God honest truth. Whether his fans want to face that or not, that's just the truth. He doesn't have those records. There's no metric you could put out there to put Kendrick Lamar over Nas. No metric.
I mean, so Mike, they just didn't want to have the Jay Nas conversation. And that's really just what it looks like at the end of the day. Because literally, and I've thought about this, Kendrick's not better at anything than Nas. And I've thought about it, Mike. Like, he doesn't do one thing better than Nas. And when I mean
performer?
not one, Mike, because everything that he does well, Nas does better. Lyrics, storytelling, album making, number of classic albums, features, hit singles, the shit. He does the shit that Kendrick don't do too. And it's like, that's what I mean. It's like when you put him at 2, it's like, how? At least with Eminem or Drake, you could be like, well, look at these numbers. Look at these hits. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Look at these numbers and these hits that Nas and Pac don't have. And Pac has those numbers to a degree.
No. Pac is the second highest selling rapper of all time. He got numbers.
No, Drake's officially taking that over.
Oh,
I think
has
Pac
he
is
taken
third
that?
now.
I forgot about
Yeah,
it.
Drake is taking over. Drake is second now. But I
Imagine
hear
if
what
Pac
you're
was in
saying.
the streaming era, though. Let's just.
Oh, yeah. Should be a rap.
Eric Terrell with the
But-
super chat says Willie D got disrespected on the Grammys.
Why? Because the Ghetto Boys weren't there? How many Southern acts were there? That's what I was going to ask you.
Well, all right, so they had Scarface go out there and do his verse on Mom Playing Tricks on Me, but Willie D is saying that they didn't even extend the invite to him. Yes, that's a problem. They didn't extend the
Mike,
invite
it's
to
not.
JJ Fad either.
Mike, it's the Grammys. That's Scarface. You're Willie D. Like, I hate to be the one to break it to you. It's like Ghetto Boys is an all-time great group. They're an all-time great Southern group. One of those guys went on to become literally one of the greatest MCs to ever walk this planet. And they chose him because that's how the music business works.
You don't think he could have gotten the invite, though? Even if they didn't have time to get to his part on stage, you don't think he could have at least been up
Mike,
there?
I don't even think they really know who Willie D is.
Well, that's a
If you really
problem.
want to know the truth.
I think that's a problem. But you know
It
what?
might be a problem,
This
Mike, but it's
problem,
like, we know those problems.
if there is a problem, and it's just like I used to watch the Trump show, Apprentice, and where you assign a project manager, and if the assignment goes bad, it's on the project manager. The project manager on this show was Questlove. So there's the problem. If you got a problem with the fact that Willie D wasn't invited to this show, that's on Questlove. Sorry.
Well, Mike, I heard there was a little flex with Questlove after the show, so some people weren't happy, obviously. There were some after-show issues with Questlove. I'm going to say less.
And I'm glad the LL started off the show by saying, we couldn't get everybody on here. I know some people are going to be left out, but, this is what it is. Boom. But I do think people like Willie D not getting an invite is,
I think you're just asking too much from these white people. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, again,
I'm just going
I
to say
hear
you're
what you're
asking too much
saying,
of these
Coop.
white. You're asking too much from these white people. The
I
end.
hear no. I hear what you're saying, but
Do you?
when you put Questlove as the curator of this, now this is on him. You can't hide behind the white people at this point. The white people then gave you the keys, and if you crash the car, it's on you now.
I'm going to tell you something, Mike. I'm going to tell you something that I told somebody earlier this morning. Black men with money and power have a frightening tendency to behave more like their oppressor than like a black man. And I'm going to leave it right there.
The L Web 100 with the super chat says, Sir Lucius Left Foot is a classic. Yeah, Big Boy got joints, man. You know, people should go back and listen to Big Boy's solo catalog. He got real joints.
Got a lot of hits.
Benji with the super chat says, M released 2 freestyles before the Marshall Mathers LP came out on 2 hip-hop beats, The Watcher and Lightspeed. Plus, he rapped over Eric's sermon on that Redman feature. Are you talking about the one that was, what soundtrack was that on? Nutty Professor? I remember that.
I know what they're talking about. Yeah. I know what they're talking about. That is Nutty Professor. That might be Nutty Professor 2.
Yeah, that was Nutty Professor 2. Yeah, because that was the one that had Hey Poppy on there. I was looking forward to that collaboration too, because even before even before Eminem expressed his adoration for Redman, I always thought they were similar, at least, you know, after listening to the Slim Shady LP. So, yeah, when that came out, because that was before the Marshall Mathers LP, I was like, yo, I can't wait to hear that. And, you know, it was cool. I think one of my favorite Eminem features in that time period was, remember that Mad Rapper record he was on?
Yes.
Mad Rapper is crazy, Slim Shady is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, that feature was dope.
Yeah, that was dope, Mike. Good call.
Melvin Wright. See, I know his stuff. You know, I'm not
I know you know his stuff, Mike. That's why. That's why.
No, I'm talking to the people.
Because you do know his stuff and his rhymes, Mike. I think sometimes you know his rhymes better than I do, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, Mike doesn't listen to more Eminem than me. How can he be such a hater?
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Coop, you got to keep in mind that Nas is indie now. On top of that, they don't push KD 3 in the way that they did KD 1 and 2. And that's on them, no promo. I think the reason why they don't push KD 2 and 3 is because I think they felt like KD 1 was a swan song and they thought he was done. And then after that wasn't the reality, I was like, oh, okay.
You're making my point for me by saying that he's indie.
Mm-hmm.
That means out of pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
But I think we also can't be okay with the fact that artists.
This isn't a new indie artist. This is Nas, motherfuckers.
No, I feel you. But
what a regular indie artist.
I think what the fans got to teach the industry, and I think it's happening right now, is you're going to have to start shedding light on indie products, because the people are going to be aware of the indie projects regardless, because now there's indie media as well. So you're not just going to be able to run the yard in the way you did in the early 2000s where, you know, if you're not on 106 in Park, don't nobody know about your projects, right? You know what I'm saying? It's a different game now. So you're right. I think that what's going to happen is these mainstream platforms, they're going to have to start kneeling to the fact that some of the major artists are indie, but they don't want to help out individuals that they're not in pocket with. And that's the corporate problem. And that's why I've always said Chance the Rapper's rise doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, I mean, I've never seen the Grammys center a show around somebody who nobody was in pocket with. It just doesn't make sense. It's not how they rock. And it's not how they've been rocking ever since either, have they? So he's the only independent artist that they want to do that for, huh?
So I just thought it was very, very concerning that the music wasn't that good.
Oh, yeah. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says, people got to stop saying Pac's not lyrical. Shaking my head. They will. They will. That narrative has gotten old.
It is old.
Because when you say somebody's not a lyricist, what does that mean exactly?
Well, here's the thing.
Are the lyrics in the words or are the lyrics in the flow?
Actually, Mike, I just actually had an epiphany. Pac's the best hit maker by himself, not Nelly.
Okay. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, Pac's the guy, actually, if you actually just give Pac whatever, because his content.
Yeah. Now Nelly will make a bigger song, but Pac will make a song with content.
But Mike, even when you say
that
he'll
will
make a
last
bigger
long.
song, it's like, but will he though?
No,
does
you're
he
right.
have something bigger than Dear Mama?
No, you're
I don't
right.
think
Because
so.
the thing is, yeah, I mean, hear me
Right.
out. Hear me out real quick. Nelly has songs that were numerically bigger than Dear Mama, but they don't mean more to the culture than Dear Mama. Or don't mean more to music culture than Dear Mama.
But how much?
And
how
I
much
think
numeric?
no, and I
How
think
much-
that I think that those are bigger hits. I think Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" is a bigger hit than any song that did better numbers than it. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
What's Going On did numbers too.
it did
That's
do
what I'm trying
numbers,
to
but
say.
it didn't do BG's "Staying Alive" numbers. But it's a
Right.
more important. You know what I mean?
So Dear
So
Mama
yeah,
is
I'll
3
give you
times,
that with Pop.
Dear Mama is 3 times platinum. So what do you think is Nelly? What's Nelly's biggest record?
I think it's Hot in Here, off the top of my head.
I think it's Hot in Here too.
That would be my pick. No, it might be Dilemma actually. Dilemma's big.
No. I really don't count that as his record though. That's what I
It
mean.
is his record.
It's a
How is it
collab
not?
record. I mean, it's Kelly and Nelly. I mean, come on.
I mean, she sings the hook. It's his song.
Okay.
It's on his album.
I mean, it's really Patty's song. It's really Patty.
Oh, no, let's not do that. It's his song. That's like me saying that Dear Mama is Sweet Sadie or something.
It is Sweet Sadie.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sweet Sadie done better though. Crazy enough.
That could be blasphemous. Let me see what these numbers look like
It's
on
been on the
Demilla
fence.
while you're looking at Hot in Here. Commercial performance. Boom, boom.
Trying to see.
You look it up real quick. Let me go to these super chats. LP with
Go
a
ahead,
super
go
chat says, much respect to our boy Leroy, but it's ironic that Jay-Z fans say that Nas fans always bring up Jay, but when Nas gets love, Jay fans come out swinging. It's starting to become that, man. They're on the mat right now. I say that respectfully.
So you're right. So this was Nelly's first #1 song. So this was bigger than anything before.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'll also tell you right now is that the certification for it in the United States is only that of 2 times platinum. So Dear Mama is actually bigger than Hot in Here.
Well, you know what Dilemma
And
did?
it's the better record. That's what I'm saying.
Ho. You know what Dilemma did? 7 million.
By itself as the song?
Mm-hmm. It said the song is sold over 7 million worldwide as of February 2021.
So Dear
But I
Mama
feel you
trumps
with
Hot.
Pop.
But hold on, but listen to what I'm saying. Dear Mama trumps Hot in Here.
Mm-hmm.
Like numbers wise.
That's awesome. I love that.
Right. It's not a question what the record is like.
Yeah. Leroy Green with the super chat says Jay-Z's last 4 solo albums were 100 times more successful than the KD's though, Mike.
Ooh.
Check the tour runs. See, now we got to go to numbers, Leroy. When you get the numbers, and I know we were just talking about numbers, we were talking about hit making, but the fact that you had to go to numbers, it's kind of a L right there. Your thoughts with the super chat says, let's have a KD3 versus American Gangster.
You don't want to do that.
I would like to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Monday.
How many records on American Gangster? You got to make sense.
Good question. It's got to make sense. I don't know if it's... Is it 17? Check it out real quick. Ethan Hill with the super chat says, Leroy missed the Carter's album, which was trash. Leroy also skipped Magna Carta Holy Grail. I know that was just an oversight.
Leroy be real convenient with it today, huh?
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, if a fire KD4 album that ends up being the best KD album were to drop anytime between now and 2025, is it possible that in 30 years we'll all look back and consider 2020 through 2025 as Nas's prime? I don't know we'll look at it as his prime, but we'll say it's probably his best run.
I mean, here's the thing about it. First of all, stop all this KD4 talk.
Coop said it's not happening.
That's the first thing. Stop all of that. Like, we've got no Like, who? No.
50 Cent said it.
We've got no confirmation for that whatsoever, so stop that. But, Mike, even without any sort of KD4 Magic 2 talk, Mike, this run's I told you, Mike, this is arguably his 3rd greatest run.
I
or
think it's
second and third,
his.
depending on how you feel.
I think it's his best run, in my personal opinion. Like, he's done it in 2.5 years. He's doing it 26 years into his career, or what? Let's say, yeah, 26 years into his career. That type of stuff impresses me. Like, I look at even with Michael, right? I look at what Michael did in latter points of his career when he was quote unquote past his prime, and the epic songs that he made. That's impressive to me. When you've been in the game 20
No,
plus years,
I get it. Here's what I would tell you. The feat that he's pulled off is his most impressive feat as an
okay.
artist. But as far as the runs go, it's like, well, I know what Illmatic It was written in the original version of I Am sounds like, and those features sound like. I can't take that out my head, Mike.
But
And
see,
then
you're counting an I Am that wasn't released, and I know that's unfair to do, to act like he didn't make those records, because he did make those records. But what we have on paper is the I Am that actually came out, and
well,
I
see, here's
can't
what I'm
take
saying.
that
So
out
if
of
you
my
like,
head.
so Mike, if you want to go to paper, that's triple platinum. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's like it's hard to tell somebody that it's like, well, you just made two of the best lyrical masters. Like you literally just made lyrically two of probably the 5 to 10 best albums ever, and then you went triple platinum after going double platinum. That's not counting the R&B and the rap features at the same damn time. It's still his best run. It's like, how about this? In my mind, the original version of I Am and Illmatic and It Was Written with the features is the best run ever, like, period, musically, that I've heard from a hip-hop artist. That's still his best run, because Illmatic and It Was Written and those features still stand. And Nas's Like is on I Am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? New York State of Mind Part 2 is on I Am. Favor for a Favor and Small World are on I Am. You know what I'm saying? So it's still there. And then you got to think about, when I mean that run too, is that like, well, QB's Finest is coming out, and then Stillmatic, and then Lost Tapes, and Godson.
It's incredible.
That's the second run, Mike. That's the second run.
No, I was gonna say, where do you stop that run? Because Nostradamus is in there somewhere. Like what?
That's what I mean. That's where the run ends. That's why I'm telling you is that like the run kind of like stops with Nostradamus, like because it's like you don't really like that's where the run's over at. But then it's like, but if you go listen to QB's Finest, and then you go listen to Stillmatic, and then go listen to Lost Tapes, and go listen to Godson. It's like, oh shit, he literally paused for a second with Nostradamus. Like Nostradamus is the only holdup in the actual run, Mike.
That's an impressive run too. But again, that KD
like it's one run, Mike. It's one run if it's not Nostradamus of like 7 or 8 albums. It's just like, oh shit.
What makes this run unique to me is the fact that it happened in a 16 to 18 month increment, right? 4 albums. And then you got Magic in there, where it's like he sounded like 98 Nas 27 years into his career. Like, those are things, like, I expect people to be who they are in their prime. You know what I mean? When you coming out the gate, you hungry. But when you come out here 26 years in, and you're dropping 4 quality albums in 18 months, that's tough to beat, to me. But I see what you're saying.
No, it is, but
because nobody's doing that. Everybody has a run when they're, coming out the gate. Nobody does that 25 years in. Nobody.
No, he's the only MC with 3 runs, Mike.
Yeah.
Like he's the only. How about this? His career is very much like Tom Brady's career. It's like Hall of Famer in his 20s, Hall of Famer in his 30s. Hall of Famers in his 40s. He'll be 50 this year. It's very much Tom Brady. Like, if you were to just separate his careers.
You're right.
If you were to just go his 90s career, no, that's one of the best careers ever. His 2000s career is one of the best careers ever. And this, no. So that's all he is. It's the same thing with Brady. It's that's what I mean. It's like he's the GOAT.
Okay.
Nobody got 3 runs like this.
And, since people keep mentioning Jay, is Jay a Hall of Famer in his 40s? Like, if we just separated everything he did.
No, that's what I'm saying.
40s.
He's not even an all-star in his 40s.
Mm.
We're talking about this guy's an MVP in his 40s. Like, has him in the conversation. Like, since King's Disease, he's been in the MVP conversation. Or let's look at it like this. Even if you don't think he won MVP, he's been first team all-rap league since he came out with KD1. He's been first team every year since then.
Well, you know what? That's an interesting...
years to make a first team. This nigga old.
You know what? That's an interesting way to put it. I never really thought of it in that way. But yeah, he might be the only person that's a Hall of Famer in his 20s, in his 30s, and in his 40s.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I'm with that. Jay Short with the
And you want
super
to know what's
chat.
crazy, Mike? You know who the next closest person actually having it like that is, and it's not Jay.
Black Thought.
Wayne.
We'll see what Wayne
Wayne.
does in his 40s, but I guess you could say in his
Right.
teenage years. Yeah.
Right, but look at this is what I'm saying about Nas has changed things. Look in the arc and the trajectory for guys like Wayne, who's closer to your and my age, which is about 8 years younger than Nas. They came into the game around the time that Nas did. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like he's totally changed the way that we look at things. Guys like Ross and Wayne maybe might have another resurgence.
Yeah, you're right. Jay Short with the super chat says, "How about this collabo matchup? KD series versus Best of Both Worlds 1 and 2 and Watch the Throne. All collaborative albums."
You don't want to do that.
We need solo albums. We need
Jay would still lose that, Mike.
Yeah.
And those collaborative albums aren't that good.
No, they're not. I think Jay Short was trying to be funny.
I hope so.
D-Mac with the super chat says, "Coop, what is the plug saying about Quentin Miller insinuating that he wrote a verse for Nas? He's making it seem like he did more than a hook or ideas. What say you?"
So let me ask you something. Have you ever heard any of this around Nas before?
No.
Why would you believe it now?
No.
Okay.
Let's just say this.
Like I haven't even forged the conversation because I don't even think it's serious enough to forge the conversation about, because it's like what we doing?
Let's just say this. Let's just say hypothetically.
Like
no,
this
no,
guy
no.
Magic, right?
Let's say
Illmatic in the Lost Tapes.
Yeah. Let's just say hypothetically that Quentin Miller wrote Speechless or something, right? Is that rewind level?
First of all, the only session that Quentin Miller was in on was The Pressure off KD2.
Oh, yeah. Pressure. I'm just naming random stuff. Yeah,
obviously. The only thing he's a part of is The Pressure. Right. Now, Mike, where's The Pressure even rank? Like, where would you, let's go in the annals of Nas's catalog right quick. Where would The Pressure rank as a song?
I don't know, man.
Do you even think
nowhere
it's
in my registry.
Let me ask you something. I'm not even joking when I say this is what this man's career is like. Is that even one of his 100 best songs, Mike?
It might not be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are we talking about Quentin Miller in a song that probably wouldn't even crack Nas's top 100? And I like The Pressure, and it's a dope record. It's a great way to start off KD2. If you go look at his career, Mike, I'm not even sure if this is a top 100 record that this man has done. Yeah. And I think we all know what his writing prowess looks like for himself and for other people. Yeah. So it's like,
I mean, as a storyteller alone, right? He stands alone. As far as the volume, I personally think that, in my personal opinion, I go Scarface and Ghostface, right? When it comes to storytelling. Right. But when it comes to Nas, the volume of storytelling that he's done throughout his career stands alone. So clearly, he's writing this stuff, right? So yeah, like we know what his pen looks like.
It's like this, Mike. A nigga that can tell a story backwards, it's just like Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. Didn't nobody question if Michael Jackson could dance once he did the moonwalk. You gonna question the nigga's pen once he writes a whole story backwards? So a nigga can dance backwards and you don't question it, but a nigga can't write a story backwards and you.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, "Coop, when the NBA plays Nas music, they pay, right?" Yeah.
That's what licenses and agreements are for, sir. Yeah.
Vale Superb with the super chat says, "You can make 2 classic albums if you took the best songs from Pac's posthumous albums, Hellraiser, Letter to My Unborn Child, To the End of Time, I Wonder, Conditional Love, Changes, Still I Rise, etc. Pac got joints." Leroy with the super chat says, "The problem, Coop, is where are Nas's big records?" 36 Chambers says, "Big records are not an indication of quality music."
But when you're saying big records, explain to me what a big record is. Like, explain me where a record needs to chart in order for it to be considered big. Because I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, what quantifies a big record?
Right, because
a lot of these look J a big record?
Mike, a lot of these J records people call big didn't chart the way that you think that they charted.
Right,
you feel me?
I'm glad you said that, because what we look at, well, at least what I look at, right? We think of records that have cultural importance. It's like PSA is a big record, but it didn't chart or do anything like that, right? You don't know
Right.
it's a big record culturally, but it didn't do no quote unquote numbers.
Right.
So let's not apply that to Jay, but act like Made You Look's not a big record because it didn't do. You know what I mean? Like we got to keep it balanced all the way
Right.
around. So when you say big records, what are you quantifying this as? You talking about things that charted in a certain way? Because my man Ja Rule got hella big records, and niggas say he not even top 50.
How about this?
And
This
he
is what
can
I'll tell
rap.
you.
You know what I'm saying? Ja Rule can
Hold on.
rap.
This is what I'm about to tell you. If we going by what I think Leroy talking about big records, 50 got more big records than Jay. That don't make him better.
You know who else does? Kanye West.
Oh, Kanye crushing.
Way more.
Kanye crushing that nigga on
And he made better albums too.
Crush.
Do we want to have that conversation?
You don't want to do it.
And who's the best rapper on Watch the Throne?
Definitely out rapping this nigga.
Jay Short with the super chat says, we have to be real. We are in a minority. Nas will never stream like that because he doesn't sell lifestyle. Fans can't live vicariously through Nas because he doesn't sell products or himself. Matt Max with the super chat says, nah, seeing Andre over Rakim and LL makes me sick to my stomach. That's like ranking Kyrie over Dr. J and Magic Johnson. Just foolishness. Let me get caught up on these super chats. I feel like we're real behind with these.
Okay, so Nas has 14 songs that have made the top 10 in Billboard.
Hold
So
that thought. I want
Leroy?
you to run those down. Let me get through these super chats and run those down real quick. Antonio with the super chat says, remind some people in the chat that the numbers can lie. 444 went platinum because Jay-Z had Sprint purchased 1 million copies before it was even released. Yeah, it actually went platinum the day it was released because of some deal or whatever. I'm not sure if that was the Sprint one though. LP with the super chat says, Quest talked about it on Twitter. It was some egos. It's always some egos. Not egos from him though, right? Let me stop. I'm joking. Let me get to the rest of these super chats, and then we're gonna get to those 14 songs that you're talking about. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, is it true that you guys said Take Care and what the album was debatable? Just asking to be sure. Did we say that?
Yes, depending on who you ask, yes.
True. Yeah, it is depending on who you ask for real. Leroy Green with the super chat says, the oil spill the BP can't clean up. I'm anti Santa Maria. Only Christopher we acknowledge is Wallace. I don't like Washington's in my pocket. Go. Getting some bars from that Magna Carta. I see you didn't forget the album totally, Leroy. I see you.
Sounds terrible, Leroy.
Andre Shashir with the super chat. Shout out to Andre. Said, Coop, how is it not possible for him to be working on a new album while preparing for a KD show? When he recorded KD 3 while touring, Nas is magic. Nas can do it all.
You see how you can try to tell people stuff and they still don't want to listen, Mike? They'll just like totally ignore what you're saying just so they can believe what they want to believe. Did you see how that happened just now?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Raka Shah with the super chat says, why is Nas owed to his mother, Dance, not talked about as much as Dear Mama? Dance is a beautiful song, and I listen to Dance more than I do Dear Mama. It's a nice song. Was it released as a single? I don't think so. I know Dear Mama was. So. Dear Mama was, and Pac was incarcerated at the time. I think he kind of had to be there. It was like the environment. It was the perfect song for Pac to put out at that time while, because they were putting out videos while he was still locked up. Temptations, where it had an all-star cast in it, and Dear Mama, and it was just perfect. Perfect timing. Jay Short with the super chat says, Quentin Miller's starting to sound like the mad rapper. About time for him to put up a shut up with his own project. That's what I say when it comes to this ghostwriting stuff. If you want to talk about it, then you're gonna have to present us some records of your own that are at the level of the records that you're taking credit for. You know what I mean? Right. Ethan Hill with the super chat says, Nas addressed ghostwriting on The Season. I love The Season. Rest in peace, Jay Dilla, too. It's the anniversary of his passing. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, if you take all the songs from KD1, KD2, Magic, and KD3, what are the top 5 best songs from all 4 albums? We're going to have to get to that. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Drake, debatable, has bigger records than Jay-Z too, but no one would ever say he's a better MC. Big records aren't a part of the quality discussion. Drake does have bigger records, and Wayne does too, actually. LP with the super chat says, Quentin Miller said that he just bounced the ideas and said on Vlad, I didn't say I wrote it, just that I worked with Nas. No idea why we want to find reasons to knock our legends. Let them be great, Jay and Pac included. Leroy Green with the super chat says, so Nas ain't got no big records on KD4? Okay, I'm almost done, Cooper. We get to these 14 records. Rachel says, 444 still did 297,000 in pure sales. And let's see. 36 Chambers says, I would say Ultra Black was a big record. Obama walked out to it. It was his theme song. Okay, go ahead, Coop.
Okay, so sorry, I got that wrong. First of all, he's had 14 albums debut in the top 10, which ties him with Jay-Z for most all time. So when people are talking this about, so understand Jay and Nas, same number of chart-topping albums making the top 10.
Okay.
So no difference right there, right?
Okay.
So let's go to the singles, and we'll start from the top, Mike. Halftime was number 8 on the rap charts and number 25 on the hip-hop and R&B charts, never made the top 100. It Ain't Hard to Tell, 13 on the rap charts, 57 on the hip-hop and R&B charts, 91 on the Billboard 100. So his first Billboard 100 selection was It Ain't Hard to Tell. Strangely enough, Mike, The World Is Yours, although it has a gold certification, 27 on the rap charts and 67 on the hip-hop and R&B charts, which I find to be funny. It Ain't Hard to Tell did better than The World Is Yours. It didn't make the 100 Billboard. Life's a Bitch actually got released but didn't chart. I didn't know that. One Love made 24 on the rap charts. If I Rule the World, obviously, 15 on the rap chart, 17 on the hip-hop and R&B charts, 53 on the top 100. Street Dreams actually did better. It's 22 on the top 100 charts, 18 on the hip-hop and R&B charts, number 1 on the rap chart. So Nas's first number 1 rap song was actually Street Dreams. How ironic is that? Phone Tap didn't register because they messed it up. Nas is Like is 3 on the rap charts, 30 on the hip-hop R&B charts, 86 on the top 100. Hate Me Now is number 8, 18, and 62 respectively. The song Nostradamus actually ended up being a top 5 rap singles, number 4 on the rap charts, number 27, charted at 92. You Owe Me did not register as a rap single, but made it to number 13 on the hip-hop and R&B charts and 59 on the overall charts. So You Owe Me is actually one of his bigger quote-unquote singles. I'm skipping over some stuff that didn't chart, like Rule featuring A. Marie reached 67 on the hip-hop and R&B charts. Got Yourself a Gun's number 2 on the rap charts, 37 on hip-hop and R&B, 87 on the 100. One Mic is 7, 14, and 43. Made You Look is 9, 12, and 32. I Can is 6, 7, and 12. So I Am is actually his biggest single.
I Can, yeah.
I Can, not I Am, I Can. Thief's Theme registered at 60 on the hip-hop and R&B charts. Get Down, 76. Bridging the Gap is 49 on the hip-hop and R&B charts. Made the top 100. It came in at 94. Just a Moment came in on the rap and R&B charts at 24 and 52, but didn't make the top 100. Hip Hop Is Dead was actually 41 on Billboard's charts, 25 on the rap charts, 48 on the hip hop and R&B charts. Can't Forget About You didn't make the Billboard 100 or the rap charts, but was 46 on hip hop and R&B. Hero was 82 and 97 respectively for the Billboard Top 100 and then hip hop and R&B. Make the World Go Round didn't register. Boom, 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 boom. Yep. And that's just his stuff. And then there's the collab stuff like Firm Biz was 15 on the rap charts, 56 hip hop and R&B. I Got to Have It with Monica and JD was 15 and 67. I remember that record. Yep. The Bridge 2001 charted 17 and then 96.
Hmm.
Uchi Wally was 2 on the rap charts, 11 on the hip hop and R&B charts, 26 on Billboard's top 100.
Interesting. Rachel with the
Uh,
super chat says,
Mike, we're not done yet, but keep going.
he says, all that hate won't change numbers, Jay-Z says.
Fast Life was 7 on the rap charts, 42 on the hip hop and R&B charts, and actually 74. So it actually made the Billboard 100. Give Me Yours was 17 on the rap charts, 50 on the R&B and hip hop charts. Head Over Heels with Allure was 17 on the R&B charts, 35 on Billboard's 100. Love Is All We Need's number 2 on hip hop and R&B, number 28 on Billboard. Hot Boys is number 1 on the rap charts, the R&B charts, number 5 overall on Billboard's 100.
That Love Is All We Need feature just made me think. Eminem needs to be featured on a Mary J. Blige song. It's an Interscope thing. They should do that.
Did you ever think with that nasty bastard R. Kelly is number 2 on the U.S. hip hop and R&B charts and 27 on the Billboard 100? It's Mine was 25 on the rap charts and 71 on the R&B list. Sincerity came in at 72 on the R&B list. Thank God I Found You hit number 1 on both charts, Billboard's 100 and on hip hop and R&B. So that would be his biggest chart. I'm gonna be all right with Jennifer Lopez.
Once again, Mariah Carey, man.
Mariah Carey don't miss. Yeah. I'm gonna be all right. She helped Jay and Nas out. Them records is subpar for their standards.
I love that Mariah.
I like Thank God I Forgot About. Thank God I Found You. I actually like that record. Yeah. I'm gonna be all right with Jennifer Lopez. Ended up being number 10 on the top on the Billboard, 32 on the R&B. I Got To with Jagged Edge is 34 on the R&B charts. Thug Mansion is 4 on the rap charts, 10 on the hip hop R&B charts, 19 on the top Billboard 100. Trying to find some more stuff. Road to Zion with Damian Marley ended up being 57.
I love that.
Blackout song. Featuring Mashonda was 34. Blindfold Me with Khalees was 91. This is all hip hop and R&B. My President with Jeezy is 13 on the rap charts, 45 on the hip hop R&B charts, 53 overall.
He's done a lot of work, man.
He has, Mike. I'm skipping stuff too. I don't think you understand. Like I'm skipping over some stuff too. Rodeo with Lil Nas X ended up being 74. And then he's got other songs that have just charted, Mike, like Affirmative Action charted, You Won't See Me Tonight charted, Kissing charted, Ether charted, You're the Man charted, The Angels with Pharrell charted, You Know My Style charted, Virgo charted.
LP with the super chat says Superb said that he wrote for Ghost. Who believed him? Yeah, I remember Superb saying a lot about, his helping with Supreme Clientele. Rest in peace to Superb. But again, I say that same thing. Like, when people say stuff like that, I'm like, yo, where's your Supreme Clientele? Or something that I could, put next to it.
Mike, Spicy ended up 36 on the... Spicy didn't make the rap charts, but made 36 on the hip hop and R&B charts and charted in the top 100 at 96. So nice. Spicy did some buzz. Sorry Not Sorry was 65 on the rap charts, but 13 on the hip hop and R&B charts. Yeah. And 30 overall. EPMD 2 charted at 81 on the rap charts, 27 on hip hop and R&B, 79 on the 100. Rare cracked the top 100 at 100. Nobody with Lauryn Hill organically went to 42 on the hip hop and R&B charts. It has Fun and Get Light down, but we don't have any charts because niggas ain't been playing it like they should.
Sad, man. Rachel with the super chat says, how many classics does Nas have to you?
Oh, man, good Lord. Oh, to me?
Mm-hmm.
Albums?
Mm-hmm.
Illmatic, It Was Written. Stillmatic. Lost Tapes. Godson.
You think Godson's a classic?
I do. It's probably his lowest end classic, though, at this point. Life is Good. KD2. KD3, Magic, Mike. You got a lot of fucking classics. You got like 10 classics. It's just about how you rate them. It's like, It Was Written, Illmatic. No. Over there. All the way up there.
I think you have more than I do. I'll say Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic. Like if Lost Tapes is counting as an album, I'll definitely say Lost Tapes. I think Magic, and I think KD3 will be. I don't want to jump the gun like months in, but I feel confident that it is. Those are 6 that I got.
So you went. It was written. Stillmatic, Lost Tapes, Stillmatic, Magic, KD3, right?
Yeah.
So you don't think life is? So you're pretty much not with me on KD2. Life is good in Godson.
Yeah.
Well, what I would tell you is that those would be probably on the back. Those would be the last three in that list. So I can see why you would feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're very good albums.
I just when I listen to like the stuff that people call classic now, and this is what I'm saying, it's like, so how about this? I love some of the stuff that I've heard, but even like, let's say like in Astro World, like I love Astro World. I don't think it's better than Life is Good. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I call Life is Good a classic, because Astro World is considered to be a modern day classic. And I agree with that. Do I find it to be a superior work to Life is Good? No, I do not. That would put Life is Good in classic territory.
Rachel says, stop it. She's probably talking about you. Somebody said Life is Good is 4.5 mics. Huh. I need to go back and really give Life is Good the listen that I need to give it. But I went back and, like I said, listened to KD1. I feel like just what I know now, end to end, I think KD1's better than Life is Good.
I don't agree with that at all.
I'll go back and listen. I hadn't listened to Life is Good in a long time. But when I went back and listened to KD1, I was like, oh man, KD1 is closer to KD2 than I originally thought.
I think Hit was just finding out beat-wise what to do with Nas for that record so that it's not as seamless. There's a couple hiccups, like All Bad. Like when I listen to All Bad now with Anderson .Paak, as much as I like the record, they could have done better with the record. Same thing with the Dirt record.
I think for me, though, I think his rapping is on point with all of them. But I think that some of the rapping on one is slightly better than two. Whereas two is better produced and probably has better full songs. But some of the rapping on one, I'm like, how did I overlook this?
Oh, yeah. Like some of the, like Blue Band's Car 85, like some of the rapping.
Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah. No, but here's what I'll tell you is that, like, man, and Ultra Black is on KD1, and Ultra Black has stayed with me.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah.
Oh. How about this?
KD1 flows really well.
If I had a request, it would be for him to do more spicy type joints. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, no, give me some of that right now. Fuck that other shit. Like stop trying to make them 94, 96 niggas happy. Make spicy. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, at this point, man. At this point, after this run, he could just have fun, man. Rachel said, "Life is good." He said, "Life is good. I guess it's good." Godson, Life is good. Godson are great albums, not classics.
See, and I've often held that claim, but I'm also I've held that claim. I've pulled up on the show multiple times, but like, man, Life is Good is just really, really good.
You said that before, yeah.
And I've said that, but this is what I'm saying is that, like, well, it's also about how things hold up, Mike. Like when I go back and listen to Locomotive and Cherry Wine.
I love Cherry Wine.
You know what I'm saying? And Stay, Mike. Oh my God, Stay.
Stay is nice.
Stay is sneakily becoming one of his like all-time great songs. The way that it's holding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Leah M with the super chat says Nas has more classics than Jay.
Well, yeah, we know that.
Yeah, it appears to be that. Jay got some catching up to do. I mean, in that department, obviously Jay ain't got to do nothing. He's Jay-Z.
Well, how about this? Nas is the only person walking around that literally has about 9 or 10 albums that you could actually debate its classic status and nature and parse it out on some sort of level. He's the only one with that resume right now where it's like, no, he really goes 10 deep with quality albums. And depending on who you ask, Mike, they might tell you it's a classic. My least favorite of all the albums I named is probably Godson. But then I think about it, it's like, it's got Made You Look and Get Down on it, motherfucker. And I Can is technically his biggest charting single. So it's like, oh, that's the great album that's not classic. You feel what I'm saying? The one that has Dance that we were just talking about. You know what I mean? The one that's got Book of Rhymes produced by Alchemist.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mad Max of the super chat says, LOL, 10 classics, Coop, stop it. Nas has Illmatic, Stillmatic, It Was Written, Automatic. Lost Tapes and Magic are his only classics. Okay,
Last Real Nigga Alive
he named 5.
Too, Mike. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. When you call an album classic, it's like, well, Mike, what do you want? Get Down's on Godson, right? Makes You Look, Last Nigga, Real Nigga Alive, I Can, Book of Rhymes, Dance, I like the song Heaven at the End. I think that's one of the better songs on the album, actually.
It's a dope
like
album.
there's shit on Godson. That's what I'm saying. And I didn't say 10 classic. I said 10 albums that it go 10 deep that people argue about the classic nature. Like there are people walking around here that think Life is Good, KD2, and Godson are classic, Mike. Those would be 7, 8, 9. That would be 8, 9, and 10. Ain't nobody else's 8, 9, 10 albums look like that, Mike. Nobody.
Rocket Shot with the super chat says Life is Good Deluxe is a classic. I got some more here. My bad. I think I just lost myself. Okay. D Mackey with the super chat says, FYI, Pac is an all-time great lyricist. The same guy that wrote Dear Mama Changes and Keep Your Head Up wrote Street Fame and Ambitions of a Rider. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, where do you rank QB's finest in Nas' discography? I got to go back and listen to that. I meant to do that too. Rachel with the super chat says, Nas doesn't stop. These KD series are saving him. Wouldn't say saving.
Not saving anything.
Cousin with the super chat says, Mike, you're going to be surprised when you go revisit Life is Good. Maybe I will.
How about this? You want to know what it is, Mike? You want to know what he's really done? It's like, this is literally what it's like. But let's try to put it into like compress it into terms. You know, things happen fast in sports, and I'm a big tennis fan. There's 4 majors a year in tennis, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you have a guy that comes out, because tennis is a young man's game, much like hip hop is. That's why I love them both, and the correlations between them sometimes I feel are apropos. You can have a 19-year-old show up and win a bunch of majors early. But by the time they're 30, Mike, their career is done and they are vanished. You know what I mean? And you can say that is one of the all-time great players we ever seen. He has 12 majors. You know what I'm saying? He's up there. Mike, that person takes 5 years off. And then they come back and they whoop everybody's ass again. Like it just doesn't happen it doesn't happen anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so like for this man, like, cause here's how I look at it now. I don't even look at it like the KD run. I look at it, it's like, well, really, if you look at everything that's going on since Life is Good, with the exception of that Kanye shit, and when I mean everything,
which isn't as bad as people make it seem.
The Kanye shit, Mike, it's only bad. This is what I mean about it, Mike. It's only bad when you juxtapose it to Life is Good,
right.
KD1, KD2, Magic, and KD3. If anybody else made that album, it'd be pretty damn dope. But this is what I mean about how we really ain't been paying attention to it. It's like, Mike, even the songs have been dope. Mike, Echo.
Mm-hmm.
Nas' album done.
Yeah, you're right.
He actually been rolling for a minute, Mike.
He has.
He been rolling for a minute. He actually been on fire since Life is Good.
Yeah, we've been putting unfair standards, I believe.
Right. We've just been holding him to unfair standards because it's Nas. It's like that ain't fucking Taking in Blood or Do Rags. Like that ain't, you know what I'm saying?
That ain't regular shit.
That ain't regular shit, nigga. And so it's like if he were to be on, I don't know, somebody's curve that gets like, you know, more credit than they deserve. Like, I don't know, the person that ahead of him at number 2 on the list, like Kendrick.
No,
like,
for real. And it's like,
if you were to get graded on Kendrick's curve, it's like, shit, this run the best run ever.
Okay. Speaking of Kendrick, and I hate to continue to bring him up, but again, he's been put ahead of
Nas has made
right?
better albums in Kendrick's run than Kendrick has. You understand that?
Well, this is
Life is Good and Good Kid, Mad City are the same year.
This is what I was gonna say. Let's look at from, you know, Damn dropping to like 2022, right? So on that 5-year break, where Kendrick's already like 4 years into his career at that point, 4 or 5 years into his career. This man, he's the one that comes with a Nasir, KD, KD1, KD2, Magic, and KD3. They're acting like Kendrick did this. Mm-hmm. Now, if Kendrick sat there and after Damn made Nasir, KD1, KD2, Magic, and KD3, yeah, he deserved that spot. Fine.
Mike, if he did that, they'd have him number 1 on this list.
Exactly. Exactly. Jay Short with the super chat says, so let's just say Freddie has 2 undisputed classics. Can we name another rapper with 2 classics not in the top 50 and he started a new trend of 1 producer? What's Freddie got to do? Freddie's got to be in the system, and that's what it sounds like to me. And again, if the game ain't on this list, And Ja Rule ain't on this list. Big Boy's not on this list. They're not putting Freddie on this list.
And I think you may have 3 classics. It's got Pinata, Bandana, and Alfredo.
Yeah. Look at
and SSS is like 3 in a Strong Possible. It's like a Strong Possible.
Leah M with a super chat says, I agree, Mike. KD1, excuse me, is much better than me now. Yeah, man. I was kind of shocked. I was like, I remember listening to it and we were both pleasantly surprised. I'm going to go back to our show that we did the night that it came out. But listening to it yesterday, I was like, wow, this really, I don't want to say aged well because it's not that old, but it just sounded better than it did even when I heard it the first time. Mad Max with the super chat says, Life is Good. It's just a great album. I have it high, but it didn't age. I'm sorry, it didn't change the landscape. Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Lost Tapes, Magic are major rap moments.
Okay, see, this is what people have to understand, though. Classics don't get graded on one curve anymore. There's levels to it. And so that's what I'm trying to say is like, no. You're talking about what I call a tier 1 classic now. Like, it's undisputed. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm saying when it's like it's arguable how many he has. Well, Mike, he has about 5 that aren't arguable. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about those. Those
You're talking about the debatable ones. Yeah.
Right.
36 like chain. Yeah, I mean, that's still a lot to say that somebody has records that are in that conversation. Because if we're talking about Jay, I would say, if that's what we're opening the conversation up to, I would say American Gangster in Volume 2, and maybe even Volume 1 is in that discussion as well.
Listen to what I'm about to say, Mike. There are people who are fans of his that are not acquainted with him via Illmatic, It Was Written. And so something like Stillmatic and Life is Good resonates more with that audience because they're not poor, impoverished black kids from the projects. They grew up more like how my daughter is growing up, more like how Maya has grown up. You get what I am saying? And because of that, they are not drawn to Illmatic and It Was Written the way you and I are. They're drawn more to Life is Good Nas, Stillmatic Nas that does I Can. They don't know shit about Blaze of 50 in this motherfucker.
In these streets. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, residency bias. I'm sorry, regency bias, I think he meant. Aside, KD3 is a top 50 hip-hop album to me.
It is. I feel that way.
MC with the super chat says, Jay and Nas have only 3 Stone Cold classics. Let's go Stone Cold classics then. 007 with the super chat before we get into that. He says, Godson and Life is Good are just, what is that? Life is Good are just misses. 7 classics. Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Lost Tapes. KD2, Magic, KD3. Also, the KD run got him a number 3 on the Billboard. Okay, let's just go Stone Cold classics, right? Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic. Off top.
I think Lost Tapes is in that category too, and so is Magic.
Stone Cold, where it's like no debate.
Where's like when we play these albums, Mike, you're gonna have to show me what's missing from them before then. Like,
I'm with you. I'm just trying to,
Like when I'm saying this is like, okay, well, show me where Stillmatic is in a classic outside of Braveheart Party. Everything about it says it's classic. Now there are albums. No, listen, there are albums that we call all-time great classics that don't have the momentum and the staying power of Stillmatic in terms of song to song, which you get quality-wise, with the exception of one song.
No, you're right.
Like, how about this? Like on a quality standpoint, even though it doesn't rate higher, if you were just to go by the music, Mike, it's better than The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick, every moment's not like a moment. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Like Lick the Balls ain't like that.
I understand what you mean, but the highs are super high.
Mike, Kit, what's the scoop? The highs are super high on Stillmatic. That's what I'm saying. Kit, what's the scoop? You think Kit, what's the scoop? And you know what I'm saying? Lick the Balls. You know that's the same thing as Braveheart Party, but we don't say that shit about The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick now, do we?
That's fair. But again, the highs are so high, and you got an album that has probably 3 top 50 hip hop songs on it.
No. I'm doing that just to give it some comparative analysis.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. But see, that's where all classics aren't, comprised the same way. So it's like you have some classic albums that are just in the end great albums, and you have some classic albums that just have 3 or 4 of the best songs ever made on them. Rachel with the super chat says, there's some bias here. There are people saying Magna Carta are classics. Doesn't mean that it is. In my opinion, Nas doesn't have 2 albums better than the Black Album.
I think that's incorrect, but I can see how some people might feel that way.
Okay, you want to put It Was Written up against the Black Album, song for song, before we get out of here.
I'm okay with that. I don't think Jay-Z fans would be okay with that.
Are the Jay-Z fans in the building okay with that?
Ooh, you want to do that to the Black Album today?
I mean, she said he doesn't have 2 albums better than the Black Album. We know Illmatic's better, right? So we don't have to go there. And I think
let's go ahead and run it down, Mike. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
We're going to take this as an educational, informative moment.
Sure. You know what I'm saying? All right. So we'll start off with December 4th.
The Message.
All right. What's the better song between December 4th and The Message, guys? I got The Message.
Just going to put an end by that one.
let me get my pen out.
Just gonna put it in by that.
This is gonna be fun. Okay, let me get my pen.
What are we doing?
Let me get my notes. Let me get my notebook real quick.
Yeah, you grab a pen. Man.
I wasn't even gonna keep score, but let me get to it.
No,
all right, let's be very accurate here. Okay, so we do have The Message over December 4th, right? Okay.
Those of us that have heard both of the records.
Yeah. Okay. Next song, What More Can I Say?
Street Dreams.
I got What More Can I Say on that. And I love Street Dreams.
I actually would take a tie on that. I love both records, but I'm not a super big fan of either record. So I would personally say tie.
All right, What More Can I Say can get that one out, I think. Encore.
I Gave You Power.
Well, that's I Gave You Power. Change Clothes.
Watch Them Niggas.
Change Clothes.
That's cool.
Okay. Dirt Off Your Shoulder.
Take It in Blood.
That's Taken in Blood. Threat.
We going to OG or we going? It's supposed to be Silent Murder right there, but it's Nas is Coming.
No, let's do what's on paper. That's right. Threat.
I actually like Threat more. Threat might be my favorite song on the Black Album.
Moment of Clarity. Uh-oh.
Affirmative action.
Yeah, that's affirmative action all the way. 99 Problems.
The setup.
I think the setup. What do people think?
The setup's way better than 99 Problems. We better not do this shit today.
Okay, I know I don't like 99 Problems, so I'm just trying
You don't like 99 Problems.
Yeah, so I'm just
I like 99 Problems, but it's not fucking with the setup.
Okay, the setup. Let's see what people disagree with. Public service announcement. PSA.
Oh, that's Black Girl Lost, so, you know.
Okay, PSA got that. Justify My Thug.
Suspect.
Uh-oh. Suspect niggas don't come outside. All right, Lucifer.
What's that, 12? This is about to be the fun one, Mike. Shootouts.
Well, to me, that's Shootouts.
To me, that's Shootouts, too.
To me, that's Shootouts.
I would probably say that's the closest thing we have to a tie-up in this bitch, though.
Yeah, it is. To me, that's Shootouts.
To me, that's Shootouts, too, but I can see how people might prefer Lucifer.
Mm-hmm. No, both
and here's the thing
songs.
About it. Most people, Mike, who bought It Was Written, actually have the setup as the third best story. They have the Message and Shootouts ahead of the setup. I just find
me too.
I just find the energy. I find the energy on the setup to be better. I find the story to be better. I find Havoc's beat to be better. That's just me.
I love Shootouts, but this is what we'll
Meth
do.
was supposed to be on Shootouts.
Yeah, I know. This is what we'll do. Let's give that one to Jay, since this is a quote unquote Nas channel.
No, that's why I'm tying that, because I can't give him Shootouts with Lucifer. It'd be different if he had like PSA against Shootouts. I would give him that. I can't give him like. Nah.
Okay, we'll do it, Ty. So I'm giving both the point. Right now it's 5-7. Allure.
Live nigga rap.
Well, that's live nigga rap to me.
Damn right it is. To some people, that a lot of people are gonna say Allure, Mike. That might be a tie too.
Yeah. My first song.
If I Rule the World.
All right. Well, looks like based on what we're scoring here, call us out if we're being biased. It Was Written. It Was Written wins that 9-5.
I put a
14
couple
songs
ties
each.
in there just to kind of try to make it fair. So it was like 9 to 5. I'm sorry, it was 7 to 5, 2.
Yeah,
But
I think I gave both of them a point for Lucifer and Shootout. So, but
oh,
yeah,
you gave him a
let us
point
know
each.
what you
Yeah, he
think.
lost. He lost.
Yeah, let us know what you think, and if we got something wrong there.
Oh, hold on, Mike. Are those albums the same length?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a Patreon.
That is a Patreon.
Because a lot of people, Mike, I found this out. A lot of people think that the Black Album is better than the Blueprint. And I'll tell you what, me personally, I listen to the Black Album more than I listen to the Blueprint.
The Black Album's not better than the Blueprint.
Mike, when you were naming these songs, I was like, oh.
Do you really want me to pull up the Blueprint? Because
Actually,
I know we
Mike.
like to harp on the songs that shouldn't be on the album, but the songs that are on that album, nah.
I think it's, I don't know, Mike, it's comparable.
Nah.
It's closer than we think.
It ain't no Heart of the City on here. If Heart of the City was on this album, it'd be the best song. If you don't know what's on this album, it'd be the best song. It is what it is. If Song Cry was on this
album. Did you just name
album,
the 2 best songs on the Blueprint?
I did. But if Song Cry was on this album, it'd probably be the best song too.
No. Song Cry's not better than some of that. Song Cry's.
What's better than Song Cry?
PSA and Threat.
No.
And Lucifer. PSA, Threat, and Lucifer are all better.
Nah, I
like
disagree.
like
I
that.
disagree.
Hmm.
I disagree.
I can't see
Let me get to
down
these
my
super
eyes,
chats.
so I gotta make the song cry.
What do y'all think in the chat? I want to see what people had to say about this.
It was
Libra
so
Day.
happy. I was like, look at this.
It's
thing,
the
man.
happy shit. Libra Day with the super chat says it's literally been life is good. My son, the star would be a resurrection. If you know, you know. Yeah, my son and star would be the resurrection. Wow. And he actually called that ahead of time.
They called his shot.
Yeah, Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, go to the barbershop, trap, anywhere in ATL and ask real people if life is good and Hit Boy albums are classic and watch them say no.
I mean,
we're going to ask real people about Eminem too.
I'm about to say, that's a loaded question. I can walk in a lot of these hoods and like niggas feel a lot of type of way. It like depends on where you are. Like, Mike, if I go to the west side of town, it's like, well, I might be like, Gucci last year's class to be like, it's not better than anything T.I. ever made.
Well, that's true.
Like, okay.
Well, yeah, a lot of people will tell you in
Right.
trap that Gucci is better than everybody.
Right. Like what I'm saying is people understand is like the zones down here are very much like boroughs. It's like, you can't go down here and say nothing about another nigga in his zone.
Right.
They got niggas that rep their own zones and hood now. Like when I pull up on cats half the time now, they ain't trying to talk about somebody that's already been out this platinum like we do. Like they be like, yo, Coop, I got somebody you need to hear.
Oh, I like this one, Rachel. Rachel says Jay's volumes better than the KD series. Huh.
That's more apropos. There's some smoke there.
There's some smoke there. I would like to go song for song with that. That'd be cool. Dane with the super chat says, Coop giving out classics like he's Oprah. Jay Short with the super chat says, what argument does Kendrick have that Lupe doesn't? I don't think that either are number two. I just don't see the separation between them. Both are 10 through 20 range. This is the thing, though. If y'all want to talk about just skilled MCs and skilled lyricists, how does Lupe not make the list? And yeah, I don't see the argument of putting Kendrick over Lupe as a lyricist. Now, we're about to do a lyricist list. I don't think that Kendrick's over Lupe as a lyricist. I don't. Not many people are. Shit. If we strip down everything and we're just talking about just straight up lyricists, and people want to play that, lyrical role. Look, I'm going to say this right here. I know y'all going to say I'm a hater. We give Eminem all these props on being a lyricist from a technical proficient standpoint. Lupe Fiasco is a more technically proficient MC than Eminem is. That's just the bottom fucking line.
You want to know what, too? And I think this is what I mean. Some of those, and Eminem is probably... would be your prime example of it. But what a lot of these quote-unquote lyricists are missing are the soulful records. And so that's one of the things that like putting Kendrick and Eminem so high does too, is it's like, well, hold on. It's like Well, shouldn't Black Thought and Lupe be higher then?
Exactly.
You see how many problems they caused by putting them up that high?
Yeah, because the qualifiers is all over the place now. Like, okay,
Right.
now that this person is here, it's like, well, okay, well, how is this person over
Because
here?
here's the thing. Because here's the thing, Mike. I mean, outside of the albums, Justify to me where Kendrick's better than Black Thought.
True.
I mean, just that's the problem putting him at number 2. It's like I don't think he's better than Thought at anything though.
Yeah,
except
do you
for
think
the album making process?
But see, this is the thing too, man. I don't think that, and I'm not one of those people that feels like, a person hasn't been around long enough to be in a certain conversation. But if you want to just pair up the two and what they've done throughout their careers, I just don't think that he's been around long enough for me to put him above somebody like a Black Thought in that way. You know what I mean? I mean, because Black Thought's a special situation. This guy has gotten better and better and better over time, and we don't know if anybody else is going to do that. It's literally like putting somebody who's having a pretty great career ahead of somebody like LeBron who's in year 20 fucking averaging 30. You know what I mean?
Well, I told you, it was like last year was like jumping into a time machine because it's like, well, our best lyricist last year is old. Our best song maker last year, old. Them niggas is going on 50.
Yeah.
But listen what I'm about to say. Like Nas makes a song more easily and fluidly than he ever did. Black Thought spits a 16-bar verse with more ease and lyricism than he ever did. And it's
well, Black Thought's making some of the best music he's ever made in his career, period. And they're not considering that. You know what I mean? Like Aquamarine is top of the top. It is.
No, it is. That's what I'm saying. No, Aquamarine and No Gold Teeth are some of the best stuff he's ever done. Like root stuff included, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I put Aquamarine and No Gold Teeth next to some of the best.
And that's not even being acknowledged. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's not even being put in a debate form.
And that's what I don't like. It's like, okay, you want to put him here, but you're not even acknowledging what he just made. You're pretty much. I think they put Black Thought there for the freestyles and the root stuff. Like you said, they're not even acknowledging Aquamarine and No Gold Teeth.
It's bananas.
Yeah. Antonio with the super chat says, don't mind that last super chat about volumes versus KD. Leroy Green with the super chat says, American Gangster alone makes Jay GOAT. Bar work.
So let's look at it like this. So let's say, classic-wise, Illmatic, it was written. Stillmatic, Lost Tapes, Magic. We clear on that?
I'm clear on that.
So I think then it becomes how you feel about KD2, KD3, Godson and Life is Good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I think KD3 is a classic. So I would say he has at least 6. Now, Mike,
that's crazy.
Right. But, Mike, I'm telling you, I think KD2 isn't far behind overall. It's not. Like, these musical pieces, like it is remarkable and startling. Like, look at it like this, Mike. He's hit on almost everything he did with Hit. Like, song for song, he's almost hit on it from KD1 to, like, all the way through. He hit on almost all of it, Mike. And so, let's say he has 5 projects that are classic. The other 5 are great. It's still better than everybody else. That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, so let's say you cut it off at Magic and all you got left after that. Well, Mike, his second 5 are better than most people's careers. KD2, KD3, Godson, Life is Good, and KD1. Most people would kill for that, Mike. And that's not counting I Am, Mike. That would make it 11. And people actually like I Am. It's still his biggest selling album, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Went triple platinum.
Yeah.
You can hate me now.
MC with the super chat says, some classics are instantaneous and some are over time. That's true.
That's what I mean about how Life is Good is holding up, Mike. Did I think it was a classic when I came out? No. Over time, I find it to be great. I'm going back and listening to it now, and it's like, damn, were you rapping like this in 2012 and we didn't notice it? Because we were stuck on Kendrick and Good Kid, Mad City?
It's true.
Yes, we were.
I'm going to go back and listen. No, you're right. Mo Better Co with the super chat says, as a young millennial, I agree with Coop. My era of Nas that I remember was mostly started in Stillmatic. Yeah.
See? Nigga don't know nothing about no Project Windows.
Rachel says, Coop be pressuring Mike. Now I try to listen to all sides.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Mike got me turned up against Andre. I don't know what else y'all want from me.
We just do it in different ways. You know, it's very subtle. I want to see what people were saying about that. Yeah, I think everybody pretty much agreed with what we were saying with the Black Album, and it was written.
Yeah, it's not better than it was written.
Yeah,
I mean that was a nice try. No, it was a nice try. It was a lofty attempt. It was very
full. And I like the Black Album, but I still think it's his number 3. I think Jay's stuff is way more concrete than, I mean, most other people's catalogs are debatable. It's like Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint,
the Black
Album. And then that's when it gets fuzzy for people. It could be either Volume 2, Volume 1, or American Gangster.
See where it gets fuzzy, though? It don't get fuzzy for Nas to like album number 12, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets fuzzy after the first 3.
Right, but Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Lost Tapes, Magic, KD2, KD3, Godson, Life Is Good.
I would have to say, and I know you're going to walk back on this, I'm going to have to say Volume 2 is a classic. Even though, again, not all classics are created equal, right? It's a classic moment. It's his breakthrough album. Everything on there is damn near a hit. Now, he had a lot of help on there, which is very uncharacteristic of what we know of him as an MC, at least coming up to that point. And I don't think that the stuff on Volume 2 aged that well because it sounded like the times. But it's hard to say it wasn't a classic or isn't a classic.
No, see, and you want to know what? I'm going to be fair and unbiased here. So the things that people say about some of the stuff from the 80s that we call classic that they can't relate to, well, I can go back and listen to Volume 2 and realize that some of my rhetoric about Volume 2 is very comparable to what people say about those 80s classic. And it doesn't take the classic status away, because the fact of the matter is, dropping a record like that in 1998 was very super impactful. Mm-hmm. It was his biggest selling moment. He shifted a lot of the culture and the dynamics and the rubric of how things are created that even exists to this day.
It built Rockefeller Records to a powerhouse. It was that album that did it.
And so it is a pretty big moment. I think my drawback about not calling it classic is because the music has not aged well. But in all fairness, there are other albums that precede it that we still let it keep its classic status, even though we don't like how it's aged. I'll give you a prime example, and we actually said it earlier. What, the album by Redman, Mike?
Yeah.
Don't we still give it its classic status, even though the way it's aged, it doesn't feel as classic as it used to? And so if you feel like Volume 2 is that, I'll give you that. I think the music on Volume 1 just held up better, but I don't have anything other than the music, and it takes more than the music. This is the music business.
No, it's true. Rachel with the super chat says, It Was Written is my favorite Nas album. Illmatic is the number 2. Well, you don't want us to put Illmatic up against the Black Album.
Right, you don't want to do that.
I don't think anybody wants that to happen. All right, well, I guess we need to get up out of here, man. Any closing thoughts?
I want to wish my Aunt Cookie a happy birthday. What's today? I got to get my February birthdays together, Mike. This is the biggest birthday month in the family. No. Okay, my niece's birthday is on Wednesday. We'll be able to pull up and wish the niece a birthday on the 15th. So, yeah, shout out to my Aunt Cookie. Her and my cousin and my mom are down at the consulate right now having a wonderful family dinner, celebrate her birthday. So shout out to my Aunt Cookie.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Valentine's Day is coming up. Super Bowl is coming up this weekend, too. It's funny how those things collide. But Anita Baker is going to be in concert here in Atlanta with Babyface. And we're going to go on Valentine's Day. And I would like to ask everyone out there, if you could jump on Twitter and get Anita Baker to unblock According to Hip Hop. I have no idea why Anita Baker has blocked According to Hip Hop on Twitter.
What did you do?
I need some answers. I don't know what happened. I went and checked today. I'm like, Anita Baker still has According to Hip Hop blocked.
Really? We're still blocked after all this time?
I don't know what happened, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to the concert. I love Anita Baker. My wife loves Anita Baker. My mother loves Anita Baker. I mean, I never said anything, man.
I'm about to say, I'm pretty certain Rapture is sitting like literally right over here. Like I
I
got
got the
Rapture,
vinyl
Mike.
right here, man. So
Right,
yeah,
Rapture.
if you
Um,
guys, if you get a chance in your busy weekend, just
you want to
ask
know
Miss
what, Mike?
Anita Baker to unblock us for whatever reason.
No, no,
I,
no, Mike. I can do that. We need to spread love and not war, to quote Mobb Deep. And we're gonna pull up on Twitter and see if you know what, Mike? You know what I'm gonna do? I might sing "I Apologize" down in the basement and send it to Anita. You know what I'm saying? Look, I apologize.
LP with the super chat says,
I do.
this is the order LP has the albums in. He says The Blueprint, KD3, KD2, KD1, Blueprint 3, Blueprint 2. Think that's fair, actually. I could quibble with the Blueprint 3 and KD1 thing. That could go either way, but yeah, I think everything else is I think that's justifiable. 36 Chambers says LP has the same order that I would, except exact same. Okay, I think a lot of people are probably thinking along those same lines. I think that the only difference, I might put the Blueprint 3 over KD1, but I don't know. That could go either way. KD1's very impressive. Blueprint 3 got some bangers, though. I will say that. DOA is a tough record. Thank You is a tough record. 36 Chambers also says...
Thank You.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thank You's tough.
36 Chambers says, correction, KD3 might actually be better than in the long run than the Blueprint 1. I still listen to the album weekly or some tracks daily. No skips. Rachel with the super chat says, okay then, if KD2 and KD3 are classics, so is the Blueprint 3 and the Blueprint 2. No. T Nitty with the super chat says, Lupe's Testus in Youth was better than To Pimp a Butterfly. I've heard people say that.
It's not true.
I don't agree, but I've heard that. Michael Williams says Life is Good is better than KD2. Everyone has a different criteria for what they deem classic. All I know is Nas has more great albums than most artists. And you know what? I think if we be objective here, Jay-Z fans included, Nas has more good to great albums than Jay-Z does.
So here's just the reality of the matter, Mike. Yeah. I Am is probably his 10th or 11th best album. That makes it the best rap catalog ever.
Yeah, he does have
Like is on there.
Yeah, Nas has the best solo. He has the best solo rap catalog ever. Yeah, album for album. Leah M with the super chat says, Rachel, stop wasting your money saying silly stuff. No, keep it coming. Keep it coming. JY with the super chat says, if KD2 is his 7th best album, what's Kendrick's? Does Kendrick have 7 albums?
Well, what happens when you don't go to work is that you don't produce. Yeah. And here's what people have to understand, too, about this need to insert youth into these lists. It's like, first of all, you're not inserting youth. Kendrick is in his 30s, okay? So you're not injecting any sort of youth into this list like you think. Hip-hop is 50, okay, Mark? Most of the people who have taken and embarked upon it, that have been the faces of it, are around that age or a little bit older, and that's okay.
Well, hold on. I want to clarify something too. Hip hop is technically 50 based on the flyer that they have from the Cool Herc party, right? But if we talk about the recording history, it's even younger than that. You know what I mean?
I mean, the recording history is not even 40 years old. They're about 40, 41, 42 years old. Maybe. 70. It's our age, Mike. It's 80, 81 with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start with, Rapper's Delight and all of that stuff, but again, that's 1 or 2 records. When acts really start coming in mass, that's around 82-ish when you got Run DMC, Houdini, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious 5. So yeah, it's around 40-ish if you want to talk about the recording side of it.
Right.
And with that being said, these people who have been around the game for 25 to 30 plus years in a 40-year-old recording industry, you don't have the catalog to actually compete with them.
I was trying to say it nicely. It's just like, y'all put a guy at number 2. Like, think about it. We've been recording his hip-hop music regularly for 40 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy's been around for about 11 years, was gone for 5 of them, has only given us 4 albums, a mixtape, and an independent release before that. And y'all are sitting him in between Jay and Nas, who literally, Mike, think about this. If rap has only been getting recorded for about 40 years, Nas has been recording for 30 of those 40 years.
Exactly.
Jay's not far behind.
Yep.
In My Lifetime came out in 94. So he's only like 3 years behind the curve. So he's a quarter century heading into 30 years. And you're telling me a guy that showed up in 2009 is as good to be scrunched between those guys based on a resume where he disappeared for 5 years?
CJ Kidd says Ghost have a better 3 albums than Jay. Does Ghost have a better 3-album run than Jay? Iron Man, Supreme Clientele, Fish Scale versus Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, and the Black Album. Do I think Supreme Clientele is better than Reasonable Doubt? Me personally, I do.
That might be Patreon.
I've never had that conversation, but I personally do. When that could be me being biased. It could be Michael being biased. That could be it.
Let me submit something to you, Mike, about what we need to do, because Reasonable Doubt beat the Infamous. We actually may need to put Supreme Clientele up against Reasonable Doubt because of that, to see where it falls, because, Supreme might be higher than we think. Because if it can beat Reasonable Doubt, how about this?
I got it really high.
Mike, do you think the Infamous is a top 20 rap album, or do you not?
I say 25 to 30, maybe.
So not even 20 to 25. So you think Reasonable Doubt is a top 20 rap album, correct?
I do, yeah.
Do you think it's a top 15 rap album?
I'm going through some albums in my head. I don't know.
Okay. You think Supreme
that.
Is, though, don't you?
I do. I think Supreme's special. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, can you do Supreme Clientele versus It Was Written real quick?
No.
We got a Patreon.
How many songs on Supreme? We might have to do Supreme or like Get Rich or Die Trying or something like that. Or It's Dark. Or something.
Yeah. I want to do the Reasonable Doubt thing.
Okay, if you want to do it, that's fine. Am I taking Jay for once?
We can aim high. Yeah, you can take Jay. 36 Chambers says Anita Baker, a Jay-Z fan.
That has nothing to do with this. You want to know it, Anita, we're going to work this out, okay? I do not like how this is going. Is this a Detroit thing? Because Mike has been trashing Eminem. We'd like to apologize for his behavior.
That could be it. Jermaine Johnson,
he's been very helpful in the community, Mike.
Jermaine Johnson says, you're blocked because Anita said Hov is the GOAT. We don't have any problem with Jay-Z fans. I'm a Jay-Z fan. I think he's number 2.
I don't think people understand this. How about this? You can have a favorite player and understand that your player is not the best player. It just so happens my favorite player is the best player. Like, when people tell me, like, Mike, when you argue with me and tell me that, like, oh, well, Luka's better than KD or Giannis or Embiid or even the way LeBron's playing right now, it's like, no, he's my favorite player, but that's a viable argument that you're presenting. This shit we talking about ain't no viable argument. We're just being objective. We're super big fans of both.
I was more of a Melo fan than I was a LeBron fan, but I would never say Melo's better than LeBron.
I'm more of a Wade fan than LeBron fan. When they came out, I stopped saying that years ago, Mike. Like, Wade stopped being better than LeBron like after 07 to me.
Yeah. T Nitty with the super chat says, do a Patreon for Testus and Youth versus To Pimp a Butterfly.
I want to stay awake during the Patreon.
That would be interesting, though. JB was here, says, nah, you ain't bugging, Mike. Supreme Clientele. Okay. JB was here, says, I'm not bugging. It's Supreme Clientele. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, a Queen's Story and Back, when a fire off of Life is Good. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Anita said Mr. Morale is a classic album. Well, all right, well, let's get out of here, man. Y'all have an incredible weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Eagles.
Oh, hold on. I'm about to say, who you got, Mike?
I got Eagles. I'm going for you.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it. Mahomes is looking a lot like Elway. I mean that for better and for worse. Elway was getting that ass whooped in Super Bowl. I mean, because Mahomes should be 0-2, Mike. He won Jimmy G throw away from being 0-2, and I think he might.
We'll see.
It's going to be hard.
Let's go Philly.
The Eagles look tough.
All right.